Hello and welcome back to Rerun the Jewels, aka Panthering Like wrong podcast.
Let's just keep it in there because you.
It was a planned bit.
Yeah.
Planned bit. This is the Ark of E
Yeah.
podcast. Welcome back. My name is Noah.
My name is Gavin.
We're the Blanchard brothers, and
We're reeling a little bit, obviously,
yeah,
because we did
we
it.
Haven't.
We fucking did it.
Yeah,
we did it.
single-handedly swayed the vote with our Run the Jewels or Rerun the Jewels podcast, rather. Thank you to all 20 or 30 people who've listened to it at this point.
Yeah.
Very sweet of you. In the midst of all of the craziness of the last couple weeks, if anybody actually took the time to listen to it, I was happy. So yeah, victory on our part. I think it was a worthwhile endeavor. I think those 3 or 4 nights of me distracting myself from the election results by editing those was time well spent.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah.
I just like the cool artwork we did, the little mini photo shoot we did after the last one. That was kind of fun.
That was fun.
Yeah, we should do that more of that when we get these like niche things that we're gonna do.
I mean, you got all this camera equipment. We should take some professional photos of ourselves and like make a podcast logo that looks like, all of the other cool shows that are out there.
Yeah, we could do that.
We should do that.
With some like explosions in the background, maybe like a early 80s
Definitely
VHS
some cats with shades on.
Yeah.
Like my 3 cats.
Yeah.
With sunglasses on.
Mm-hmm.
Something of that nature.
Some sort of badass muscle car.
Yeah.
Musical notes in the background, maybe a little.
I almost immediately transitioned into a Colt Wolf conversation, but I know you don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that, Noah.
There was something about September 22nd that was like, guys, we're definitely doing it. And then no word for the last 2 months. What happened, boys? I'm just curious. What happened?
Colt Wolf? No Wolf. There's no Wolf. There's no Wolf.
Not over.
No
Year's
Wolf
not
Productions.
over.
That's it. Just change your name for 2021.
You're listening instead of finishing chucking the San Diego Twins. But
you showed me a video of them editing it, and I was like, oh, okay.
I'm hoping that it's like they finished the edit and then they shopped it around and all of a sudden there was a bidding war and it's just gonna pop up on Amazon or Netflix at some point in the next
or HBO Max
2 months. That would be pretty sweet. We'll talk about HBO Max in a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe we should clarify what the heck we're doing here. This is basically our last pod before we get into our year-end wrap-up sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's basically, I just had a giant list of movies and TV from the post-Arktober, post-Rerun the Jewels era, if you will. So basically the last 3 or 4 weeks. And yeah, I got plenty of stuff to talk about. I figured that was a good launching in point. I know at some point we'll do a Synchronic mini review.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not a spoilerific review because I don't think anybody's really seen it. It'll be on VOD eventually, but
yeah.
Anyway, so we'll do a little mini review of Synchronic. We'll talk about what movies and TV we've been watching, and then that's pretty much going to be it. And that'll be it for this month. So happy Thanksgiving in advance.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Glad you got to come up and see us. Hope you enjoyed dinner.
Yeah.
Did Mom tell you what we're doing? The whole Christmas card deal?
Oh, we're taking a photo? What?
Oh, no one's told you this. Good, I get to tell you firsthand.
I think somebody has told me this, but go ahead.
So I went over and saw him one night. Mom was like, I don't want to do a big thing for Christmas because I'm retired. I'm like, okay. No and I don't ever really go crazy for Christmas except for that one time in Toyland in Japan, and we got shamed for it right then and there, and I've never ever wanted to put a Christmas list together ever again, which I've told Mom about multiple times. Anyway,
keep it moving.
I said something we could do that would be fun would be to let's actually do a legit Blanchard family photo for postcards for Christmas, but we do a ridiculous theme, your favorite Christmas character. I was I'd put Noah in a dirty old tank top and some jeans and get his hair all fluffled and he's John McClane. Dad's got the slick back hair now because he's growing his hair out, so he kind of looks like Carl maybe a little bit. He's got a little longer hair.
Dad is obviously Santa.
Right. He could be Kris Kringle, that's true. But
Who
Mom,
did you suggest? I'm sorry.
I said he should be Carl. I originally said we should all do Die Hard.
Okay.
We should all be Die Hard characters.
Okay.
Mom could get the teased up hair and be Bonnie Bedelia, Holly.
Right.
You're John McClane. Dad's Carl, and I'm
Weird.
I'm
Okay.
Sergeant Al Powell. It's just that simple. Yeah.
Or it's dangerous territory, sir.
Or I could be Hans Gruber. It doesn't matter.
I think maybe Hans.
Mr.
Leaning more towards Hans.
McClane. John McClane. Sorry.
If you're going to step on somebody's legacy, let it be the great Alan Rickman and not Reginald Val Johnson.
Okay.
Not Reginald Val Johnson.
For God's sakes, Gavin. Okay. But then Mom's come up with all these different ideas. Now she wants to do a...
It's country and western themed, isn't it?
No,
just tell me.
No, it's
tell me.
It's ways to get rid of COVID. That was her deal. She wanted to call it ways to get rid of COVID. She wanted Dad to put a suit on and look like Don Corleone, and he was gonna make it an offer it couldn't refuse. She wanted me to put on a Hawaiian shirt and be Scarface.
Okay.
No, hear me out. She wanted you to get in like a
out on
chef's.
these pitches, man.
She
Come on.
wanted you to get in a chef's outfit with like Hannibal Lecter mask and be like you're gonna carve it up with fava beans and Chianti, and then she wanted to be like an old woman who poisons people, and I was like, no, Mom, you gotta go Kathy Bates from Misery. We'll get you a sledgehammer, put you in some dumpy clothes, and you could be Kathy Bates, Annie from Misery.
No, I will explain what's been happening. Mom's been watching Fargo season 4, and
Yes, I would agree.
it'll make a lot of sense for anybody who's watching that show right now, which is a decent amount, I think. It's about to wrap up. We'll get to that in TV. Anything else at the top of the episode?
No, I mean that's pretty much it. All the family
Well,
news.
I'm looking forward to this Christmas card.
Well, we're gonna try and do it
Love
on
to hear
Thanksgiving.
your pitch in person, Mom.
Yeah.
I know you're listening. Love you. Anyways, happy Thanksgiving to everybody in advance. This will be the last time you'll hear from us for a bit, but then the plan is to hit you 4 episodes in December. We're going to do favorite albums of the year, favorite TV shows, obviously. That's going to be a fun one. And then what's probably going to boil into some sort of 2-part year-end movie wrap-up. Because I have a list of like 35 or so right now.
Wow.
That are in the 8 and above range in terms of like rating. So I got a lot to talk about for the year-end wrap-up. So I'm feeling a 2-parter. And maybe we'll get old Sunshine Mayfield in there as well. So look forward to all of that. But for right now, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk a little Synchronic? I know it's semi-fresh on the brain. You came by my work. That was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
Tried to come in without a mask.
Yep. I was gonna add
Real funny joke.
I had a whole thing planned, but you just like put a mask on, brother. And I was like, God damn it, he stole my thunder.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
I had to say something because if not, my boss probably would have gotten up from her chair and been like, "Excuse me, sir, you need to leave."
That's what I was hoping that happened. So then you could come in and be like, Hey.
I just don't bail you out. I'm like, I don't know this
But
guy.
I'm his brother. I'm just a fatter version. Like, look at him.
I don't know this
Can
guy.
you not see this? Like, come on, what, Julie? Come on. It's me, Noah. I pretend I'm you from the future, where you don't have to wear a mask because everybody just lives with coronavirus. Be perfect. You just get a little fatter, Julie. That's all. Speaking of time travel, yeah, we can talk Synchronic. It was pretty fun. I had already watched. I only watched one of the ones that you told me by these two directors. The very first one, and it's like I said, I can see some of the seeds like you were telling me you would.
By the way, you told me you couldn't find The Endless. The Endless is readily available on Netflix.
No, it was there. I just didn't.
You didn't watch it prior.
I hadn't cracked open. I cracked open Netflix 2 nights ago. It's the first time I opened Netflix in 3 months.
I know it's not your bag. I've got a lot of Netflix stuff to share with you.
It's too much.
Well, that's why you need me to help.
Yeah, I need you
I'm
as the
your guide.
filter.
I'm your Sherpa.
Because think of it. You're my
the streams.
you're
Sherpas
my-
go up mountains. What's a river guide?
You're my shaman. To quote a show that I want to talk about later that you probably haven't watched any of, that ended a while back, but I finally caught it up because it's free on Prime now.
Okay.
Yeah, you're my shaman, dude. Like you're gonna guide me through Netflix because everything you've told me about on Netflix, I liked. Kingdom.
Well, we'll go ahead and tease it because we talked about it tonight. Cobra Kai is new to Netflix.
Yes.
People have been falling in love with it all over again. We, of course, have covered season 1 and 2 when they happen. Mm-hmm. It's one of our favorite shows on TV. And we can go ahead and tease something for January. January 8th, when the show drops, we're going to do a binge-along.
Yes.
So, we're literally going to get together here in the studio. We're going to watch an episode, and then we're going to talk about it for like 10 to 15 minutes because everybody's going to binge through this thing.
Of course.
There's no point in doing episode by episode full-on recaps and like playing dumb about like what's coming up next. But if we have our in-the-moment reactions and then like a wrap-up on the end, I think that would be very fun for people to be able to just like, they can just pause the podcast, watch an episode, jump right back in.
I got it, okay? Hear me out. We call it the Cobra Kai Never Die Birthday Binge Along. Because that's my birthday month. We love Cobra Kai. They never die. And you're going to binge the whole show with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Birthday binge along.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Hey.
All right.
Yeah.
It's settled then.
Every now and then I got a couple of a good ones in
We're
the
just going to
tank.
keep talking about things that are happening in the future.
Yeah.
Because who wants to focus on right now?
No.
Let's be real.
What'd you say? The hoverboard's cool, but the air's so
The
putrid.
hovercraft's cool, but the air's so putrid.
Yes.
Yes. Did you watch the new video for the Cyberpunk
Oh
single?
my God, yes, dude. I cannot wait for that game. And I cannot find a PlayStation 5 anywhere.
Me either.
Randomly, there's one on 2Notch that
Hoping for a Christmas miracle.
yeah. There's one on 2Notch.
That is probably a song. It's got to be.
Maybe.
Hoping for a Christmas miracle?
Yeah.
There's so much Christmas
Do you want to
music.
revisit Christmas songs this year?
No.
Okay. All right. Because I have like
We
brand
did our
new ones.
episode. Final word on it.
Oh, God.
As far as I'm concerned.
Did
A good Stanley enough said to that. That's what I say. I never want to talk about Chris unless all of a sudden you're like, oh, dude, I found like 10 new, like, cool. Oh, God, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Gavin's sitting across from me like, yeah, man.
No, I didn't put.
Yeah, I got
I
some.
didn't put Celine Dion's "Walking with You in a Winter Snow" on there, and I didn't put. I may have put "Christmas Wrapping" by the Waitresses. That is the best Christmas song of all time. Anyway, before I forget, randomly, I'm just for the listeners out there. If you listen to this on Black Friday somehow,
That's possible. Yeah.
2Notch Road, Target, Columbia. They don't ever update their inventory online. Randomly, you can go in there and be like, oh, yeah, we got like 5 or 6 of them. We just don't put them out. We don't put them online. That's how a friend of mine got a Nintendo Switch. She just happened to be in Target and was like, hey, you guys have these? Oh, yeah, we got 6 in the back. We don't ever... It's like, oh, can I
ask?
Can I get one? Yeah, that's the thing. They make you ask, which is kind of shitty. But I also heard they aren't like shipping out a bunch of stuff
Probably
to
laugh in your
stores.
face if you're like, y'all got a PS5? You guys got a PS5?
It's just like it's the scene from Jingle All the Way. You're leaving Target. You need a PS5? I got one, and it's literally like around the back, and it's a PS4 with a 5 stamped on it. It's like, you want it? You want it or not? $200. Come on. It's like, what?
The games are like games that don't exist for the console. Off-brand versions.
Somewhere.
Spider-Man. Mike Miles.
Mike
Miles.
Yes.
What?
And then all of a sudden you get in a fight, and someone comes, I'm gonna dick your holes, just because like that's my favorite scene in that movie.
Dumb Souls.
Dumb Souls.
It's Dumb Souls.
Yeah, that works.
It's dumb as shit and it's hard as hell.
Cyberpunk 2089.
Cyberpunk 20.
We could spend the whole...
It should still be 2077 if it's funk. Cyberpunk
2077. You play a funk musician in the future.
God. That's good stuff.
We could just can you imagine all the terrible puns we could come up for a bootleg like black market PS5. It's ridiculous, man. They just come they come to you. Anyway.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't wait. Okay. Let's talk Synchronic.
Yeah.
So, you saw Spring.
Yes.
And you saw Resolution, their first one.
Right.
You have not seen the Endless.
No.
Not essential, but again, it helps some of the connective tissue.
Right.
Notably, you saw it in a theater.
Mm-hmm.
You drove all the way down to Charleston to do so.
Yes. The lovely and fabulous Citadel Mall Cinemas.
Yeah. How was your experience with a... I've been a couple times. I've talked about it. It was the first time you've been in the theater in a while.
Yeah.
How was it?
Interesting. It was...
A ghost town.
Yes. I tried to imagine that I had stumbled upon this and that it was the only theater running with power, and
it's the end of In the Middle of Madness.
Yes,
yeah.
I had sealed the doors so that no mutant zombies could come in and get me.
Mm-hmm.
Magically,
no Lovecraftian horrors.
Right. Yeah. Magically, there was still an attendant because you got to pay, and you can't just go in for free.
Yeah.
I did think about leaving. Like, what if I just ducked in here? And, and who's gonna know? But I didn't. I was on a schedule. I only felt really bad because I went with a friend of mine, and I was like, I mean, we don't have to social distance. Like, we came here together. Like, we can sit next to each other.
To each other.
And so because I did, the only other person who bought a ticket, her chair was in front of where I was sitting. I was like, oh, fuck me, man. So I felt bad about that. But I didn't get up or anything. She left early. And props to that young woman, just coming to a random movie by herself in the middle of Veterans Day. God bless her. I don't know what else she was not doing.
Kindred spirit, I would
Yes.
say.
No,
that's definitely my game.
Listen, I've done plenty of like middle of the day by myself matinees, and
Last year, I literally, in one weekend, went to go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood 3 times. Once on a Friday, once on a Saturday, and once on a Sunday.
Noah.
Two of those times were by myself.
Noah, who hurt you? Just kidding.
I wanted to see it with an audience. That was one of those where I was like, okay, now I know where everything is. Now I know all the beats. Now I want to see how it, like, I want to read the room. I don't have to focus on what's going on. I just want to see how people react to the last, 15 minutes of this thing.
Well, the people in this movie, they loved it. The 3 that were in there, I think they loved it. I mean, they all stayed.
We're speaking about
Synchronic. We all stayed to the end.
Always a good sign.
Yeah.
As is tradition.
Yeah, honest, obviously, I didn't stay to the whole credits because I'm like, okay, I got a day here. But
you didn't stand and salute, and
I didn't do the national. I was waiting for the national anthem, but that did not happen, unfortunately. Overall, it was just so surreal because we've talked about how you forget about things. I forgot that I actually had seen 1917 in theaters earlier this year in January.
January, yeah.
So, I mean, that's 3 movies in 360 some odd. Of the 365 days we have, only 3 of those days were ever spent watching a movie.
Yeah,
and it's random in a theater.
That is wild to think about, but yeah, I too saw it because it didn't. It definitely didn't make it here until January.
But yeah, it came out early release places to be in contention for the Oscars.
Right.
Which, I mean, I feel like, why don't you just wait and have it come out this year early? Because it could have competed against Bad Boys maybe. But also, Bad Boys 2 is the biggest box office this year. I fucking love it. Sorry, 3. Bad Boys 2 was on the other night.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No. And it's going to be.
Oh yeah.
Nothing's gonna. Well, I don't think Tenet even crept towards it because I think international Bad Boys was what 450 plus somewhere in there, and Tenet's hasn't even cracked 400 yet. Mm-hmm. It could happen, but anyways, we'll talk more about Tenet on my year-end list, aka 32 movies that are better than Tenet.
Okay, that's a good one to call it.
Yeah. Okay. Synchronic.
Plot time, is that what you want?
We can lay it out for people briefly. I think we talked about it
a little bit.
I can give you on the previous October episode.
So it's basically 2 paramedics in New Orleans, and living the life, daily life. One of them finds out some unfortunate news, and the other one is it's a split dynamic. They're best friends. They're buds. One single, one a family man, dealing with the ups and downs of modern living as a man in 2020. Obviously, there's no COVID yet in this movie. They didn't parse that in there.
Yeah.
But it's I have a child. I'm having another child. 18 years difference. All this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, his oldest child just disappears, and we don't know what happened to her. Yeah. And that leads his buddy on a time traveling journey. That is all because of this little tiny limited supplied wonder pill called Synchronic.
Yeah.
And we'll just leave you with that. You got to watch it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Check out the trailer.
It is one of those that I feel like if you're going in expecting straight horror, I also recommend you check out a few of the Benson and Moorhead movies prior to see if this is even a vibe that you enjoy. Mm-hmm. But I also think this is the best distillation and maybe a good entry point to see if you like these guys and then kind of backtrack. So we both highly recommend it. It's still in theaters if you can safely and comfortably go see it.
Right.
I highly recommend it. But I would also imagine, I haven't seen anything specifically, but I would imagine this thing will be on VOD before the end of the year.
Right,
I would
yeah.
imagine probably December. So
Yeah.
definitely keep an eye out for it, and maybe we'll talk more about it on our year-end list. I don't know.
And we should say it's Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie and Jamie Dornan.
And I like Jamie Dornan. I don't want him to get pigeonholed as Mr. Gray from those movies. Any other thing I've seen him in, I like him.
I honestly, even after this movie, which I thought he was totally fine and solid in, I'm pretty indifferent to him. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything where I've been like, oh my God, this dude or this performance.
Mm-hmm.
But Anthony Mackie, somebody I've always enjoyed, going back to like Half Nelson, I think was the first thing I saw him in.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, huge heights of success with the Marvel franchise, but also like he's kind of been, sidelined, but we know now Falcon and Winter Soldier, like he's going to have a Disney Plus series, etc. They're going to expand the character more, and presumably in like phase whatever we're in now, he'll be more of an integral, like, key member of whatever they're building going forward.
And
anyways, it was just satisfying to see him like just anchor a movie, because it's like I know he can do that, but he just like he hasn't really had the chance to do that in the last few years, and I was like, this is a perfect like showcase sort of role.
Regardless of any of that, you can always feel good for the guy, because Clarence still lives at home with both parents, and Clarence's parents have a really great marriage. I mean, that's the key to all of this.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
He's 8 Mile? Come on, man. Sorry.
I've seen 8 Mile one time.
Yeah. Well, he was he doesn't.
One time. Sorry. What?
B Rabbit raps so good that Anthony Mackie has no
He's
words
the
for
first
him.
guy he has to face.
No,
right?
he's the dude that he makes him speechless, because he says all the shit about him that he's going to say. He takes that power from him. He wins the rap battle, and he's like, I got to go to work tomorrow. I'm done. I'm walking back across 8 Mile. He gets it.
Yeah.
A hero's journey is never finished. Sorry. Go ahead.
Good stuff. No, okay, so yeah, we both highly recommend Synchronic.
Yes.
Check it out. Check out Resolution, Spring, The Endless, all of their stuff. It's all good. It's all interesting. If you like sci-fi, a little bit of horror thrown in there, and like, again,
Also
a true like indie spirit to it. But that's what I loved about this is like you just you give them a little bit more money and you see what these guys can do. They've been already like showing the show. You gotta watch The Endless so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Dude. I think it's still my favorite of the four.
Well, one thing I will say real quick too is the thing that I have an issue with in anything that comes up with science fiction, particularly anything with time travel, is the explanation of traveling through time, and also the conceit of what you're doing in the past affecting your future. And I feel like this one, more than a couple of ones I've seen recently that deal with time travel, yeah, it's just a pill you take, and for some people it's a time travel bit. Some people it's a existential, like, am I really seeing what I'm seeing kind of deal. Mm-hmm. So the science behind it, how minimal it is for why it's there, it could be some giant larger conspiracy, or it could just be that, hey man, I tried to do this real quick and I fucked it up, so I'm getting all the shit back.
Again, as I told you, once you watch the other ones, specifically The Endless, like directly connects to this in a big bad way. And it was the kind of thing where in the theater I was like, oh,
okay.
And I feel like at the same time when I was watching it, I was like, anybody watching this without the context is just like, oh, okay. And just like taking it as it's presented to them. But for me, I was like, I
You're the one guy in the theater.
Going. Yeah. So, great stuff. Yeah. Again, we just don't want to say too much about it.
Yeah.
Because
we can discuss. I feel like if it shows up on
people.
anybody's year endless, we can definitely maybe discuss it more then. Especially if it will be out on VOD by then.
When
then
it hits VOD, I feel like we can jump back in with some spoiler discussion for sure. Yeah. And it's not as twisty and turny as I'm making it sound. It's just good sci-fi. Mm-hmm. It's good stuff.
Good solid sci-fi, and that's the thing that I feel like is lacking from Hollywood in general. Yeah. So I feel like this is the way to go. Is if you want
either ultra budget, high concept, and ultimately like not that satisfying, or it doesn't happen basically, or it's happening on like a super small indie scale at this point. But yeah, I mean, we talked Vast of Night earlier this year. Oh yeah, spoiler alert, that's definitely coming up on the year-end list.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, that's where the gold is at right now for sure. Okay, You want to keep going with movies? You want to talk TV? What you got? You got a list?
I got TV.
Let's do some TV.
I finished a show that I think wrapped last year, end of last year, maybe early this year. I can't remember. I didn't look.
Okay.
I finished season 4 of Mr. Robot.
Alrighty.
And I don't know if you've ever watched a single episode.
Never seen an episode.
I am thoroughly impressed and I enjoyed the fact that show was made and that it got Rami Malek into the place to be able to play Freddie Mercury to win the Oscar and be the new James Bond villain. But the character of what it is and what the show deals with and what it talks about at its core is not something that most people talk about, but is also like, if you've ever watched Homecoming, you're like, well, of course this is what it's going to be. I don't know if Sam Esmail has a mental health disorder, has ever dealt with it, or was maybe like a psychiatrist or a psychologist before he started writing stuff. But
I'll send you some podcasts.
Yeah.
Very interesting, dude. I can't speak to any of what you just asked about, but very interesting, dude. I'll send you some of his appearances on the Watch podcast.
And I wanted to look up some stuff with him because, and thinking back about like the year and stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, Homecoming season 2 did come out, and I'm comparing it to the first season of that, and then I get to, again, 4th season of Mr. Robot with where the 3rd season ended and how you wrap it all up. I'm like, wow, you managed to do all this, but you still also managed to like surprise me, take me to a place I didn't think I wanted to go in this show, and end it on quite simply like one of the most perfect notes you could end a show on, dealing with the subject matter it does. And I was just like, I got up, I was like, well, shit, okay. And but I instantly wanted to go back and just start at season 1 again and work its way through.
Where is it available streaming right now? Okay.
And there is one episode in the last season. I don't know why they took this trend, why they wanted to do it, and it's spoiler free, and I know you don't. The main character Elliot has to deal with someone that he thought he had dealt with and handled in season 1, someone from his past, who comes and helps him, comes and essentially drops a bomb on him, not purposely, but like is the catalyst for this happening. But they chose to shoot it in a widescreen aspect, like film ratio. It doesn't look like any other episode. And I'm thinking the entire time, why does this look so good? And then I get to why we're there, and I'm like, oh, this needed to be cinematic. This didn't need to be another episode, because the joke to me in everything that he does, if he's a creator of it, no one will ever be in the center of a frame. Yeah. They'll be to the right or the left. But that all melts away, and it becomes like this little cinematic hour-long piece of television that fits so perfectly, twists everything you ever heard about the show the last 3 seasons on its head, but then still leaves you at a place where you're like, where do I go from here? This isn't the end. What do we do? It would be worth anybody who wasn't there. I'll tell you this much. I'll give you and everybody else this. If you didn't watch it as it came out week to week, I wouldn't blame you, because it is very hard, I feel like, to sit and watch that week to week on USA. It lends itself more, me personally, to being able to binge, because of all the shit that's thrown at you in each episode and then each season, to be able to go 1, 2, 3 real quick and then have to wait for 4. I could have bought 4. 4's been out since it came out. But I've just waited till it's on Prime, because it's like, well, hell, I got all this I can binge for myself. I'm going to do this. It's not technically 2020, and I would have put it on my list for this year if it was 2020. I think it was late 2019. But I did finish finally the whole entire series of Mr. Robot, and I'm glad I did.
That's a pretty ringing endorsement. I have yet to check out any of the Sam Esmail shows. I haven't seen any of Homecoming. I haven't seen any of Mr. Robot. But that might be tail end of this year when, we're kind of waiting for the next batch of stuff before we kick off next year. Might be a good time.
Yeah.
I will definitely check it out. On the note of what you were just saying about kind of an isolated, single cinematic episode, Fargo season 4, which I'm watching right now, just had that this previous week, where it's like the show is always presented as very cinematic, but this was the whole episode all of a sudden is black and white, and it was an isolated kind of contained story beginning to end. We didn't, and there's kind of a huge cast of characters, but we only stuck with like 2 specifically for the episode. Anyways, that is one that I highly recommend to you before the year is over. There's 2 more episodes of it left. It's available on Hulu on FX, or FX on Hulu rather. I know you haven't watched any prior seasons. It does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is the one that would get you into it.
Okay.
And again, I've told you, it's Kansas City in the 50s. It's Chris Rock's Black Mob or Mafia, whatever. I guess not Mafia, but yeah. His organized crime gang, and then Italian mobsters, who are all pretty much idiots, led by Jason Schwartzman.
Okay.
So it's a war between the 2 of them with some peripheral characters. You always have the law in Fargo, and that's Timothy Oliphant in this, and Jack Houston, who I know you never watched Boardwalk Empire. He's fantastic. You've seen him in some other stuff.
Is he the young kid?
In what?
Boardwalk Empire.
No, in Boardwalk he's the veteran with like half a face.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about, yeah.
Yes. Okay. He's great. Anyways, and Jesse Buckley from I'll just say it here. I've already said it before. I don't think it's going to change. My favorite movie of the year. I'm thinking of Ending Things. She is also in the show. She's fantastic. She plays a nurse who's up to no good, basically. That's what we were talking about with Mom earlier. Okay. But I think this is your window in, and then specifically because of how things are connecting, you go from this in the 50s, which I know you will dig and you will get into, and then you're going to jump to season 2, which is in the 70s and features some connective characters.
Huh.
One of which, this is the main reason you got to get to season 2. Our boy, Bokeem Woodbine, is incredible in season 2. And spoiler alert for anybody who's going to watch Fargo down the road, I won't be specific, but we're seeing the childhood version of him in the 50s.
Okay.
And you don't know it explicitly unless you're paying attention, but you're like, oh shit, this is going to be Bokeem. So,
this is Noah
Hawley, who did Legion.
okay.
Did you watch Legion?
I need to watch all of it. I watched the first couple
I watched
episodes.
the first season, and
I watched
have not
the
done
first
2 or 3
3 episodes. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
And
See,
I mean, it's done. That's one we could go back and just knock
if
out.
it pops up on Prime or like,
It's on Hulu. FX on Hulu.
okay, I have to go through that then, because I come on, man, it's my boy. Why would I not?
I know. It's Dan Stevens.
I know.
And it's basically Noah Hawley doing, like, if Fargo is clearly his, like, I love the Coen Brothers show.
Mm-hmm.
Legion is his, like, yeah, technically this is a Marvel superhero show, but I really, really like Wes Anderson. So I don't know if you'll like that because we know how you feel about Wes Anderson, but you do love Dan Stevens.
I do.
So I feel like the
Fucking
2 will
love Dan
balance out
Stevens.
somehow, and you'll be like, this is pretty great. This is pretty great.
What was Dan Stevens in this year that I just watched?
I don't know.
He was in something. I can't remember what the hell it was.
I haven't seen anything new since oh my god, the song got Eurovision.
Yes, that's it.
Couldn't
Eurovision.
come up with it. Yeah, that was his thing
Speaking
this
of
year.
Eurovision, I watched.
Were we speaking of Eurovision?
I watched the American Force Majeure Downhill. It's so.
Okay, let's stop and have a conversation for a second. So, you intentionally, after I told you that Force Majeure is like one of the best movies of the last like 10 years, you specifically did not watch it and then watched the American remake.
Right.
How was it?
I only did that because it wasn't available on Prime and Downhill was on Max. Then I went to Prime and saw that Force Majeure was available on
Force
Prime.
Majeure's on Prime and on Hulu.
It is?
Yes.
Okay.
It's been there for months.
So then there has to be a ghost in the machine because it wasn't until I watched Downhill on
Force
HBO
Majeure unlocked for you.
that on HBO Max of all places that it showed up as something I would want to watch as like, you know, oh, here it is on Prime. So some ghost is talking to something in the machine, my friend.
Well, this live person is talking to you, And you need to go watch Force Majeure, regardless of what you thought of Downhill. But did you like Downhill?
I don't know, man. Like,
see, if you were middle of the road on it, I think you will love Force Majeure because I told you when I watched it, and I was fucking blown away by it. I was like, I already can tell you that this American version of it will not work.
It's not going to work.
Period, will not work.
Because my only question...
it's so much about the tone and the vibe and the directness of the dialogue and the uncomfortability, the cringe of just
like that was there, but I don't want that from Will Ferrell.
That's what I don't think of Will Ferrell as a cringe comedy guy. I don't.
Like when he straight up like fucking like, you know, is laying into her and like fuck you and what, I'm like, whoa, bro, like where's Cam Brady at, man? Where's Ricky Bob? Like, no. And I understand that as an actor, you don't want to ever be considered one thing and like be you know, I'm going to do 8 movies as this one character. I get that's why we don't have a 4th Austin Powers movie, but like...
I feel like this isn't even more interesting opportunity now for you to go watch.
No, and I plan on now that I know that's on there and I can find it. Like, it's, again, I've learned on anything, once you get past the second row of stuff when you're going to the right, it's not that great. Yeah. Like the first 2 rows are good. So when something's in the first row, I'm like, well, shit, look at that. And it doesn't matter that it may have been on there for 13 weeks. It's new to me because I just saw it in the first row. And I don't know if that's some algorithm that's like...
This is how marketing and algorithms work.
Yes.
People. You're the person they're targeting.
Exactly.
Put it in front of his face. He'll watch anything.
This man watched, I don't know, some whatever terrible shit.
He never clicks right. He never clicks right.
Yeah.
First thing.
You've got to get it to him in the first chunk of movies, so he's never going to see it. Why do you think he only watched Porky's and not Porky's 2 the next day? Porky's 2 the next day was 3 clicks over. Sorry. But again, I watched Porky's. That's another one I rewatched just because I was like, what is this? Like, why did I want to watch this as a child? Like, as a growing teenager.
Boobies.
Right.
Literally, that's
But it's
that's
like
it.
80s, like 80s weird oblong tits and muff. Like, that's what I wanted.
Anything, right? Anything on Stars with nudity.
Right.
Period.
And now I'm like, well, is Porky's 2 the next day going to be any better? What about Porky's 3?
As far as I'm concerned.
Porky's Revenge. What about that?
Porky's is a Bob Clark movie, right?
I believe so.
What a career, dude.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Clark Cast is the next thing.
Let's do it.
Dude, if I'm not mistaken, okay, Black Christmas, obviously, fucking masterpiece. Mm-hmm. A Christmas Story, masterpiece. I think he directed Baby Geniuses, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe
He's
so.
one of those, it's just a wild career. It's all over the place.
It's almost up there with like, oh, you make Road Warrior and then you make Happy Feet?
I mean, literally George Miller is the only other comparison point where it's like, they're not even, and of course, George Miller through all of that is still an auteur. I don't know if Bob Clark is. He's more of, I guess, what you'd classify as a journeyman. Yeah. But just what a strange journey.
Exactly.
What a weird fucking career.
Dude, let's just call that what a strange journey. And we just
the
track
Bob
these.
Clark story.
Well, no, that or like we can find like people besides him that like, because there's got to be other people. They're like, holy shit, you made this and then you made this piece of trash.
And now you direct Disney Channel original series for like the last 10 years of your career, essentially.
Is that what he's done?
No, I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of those guys who all end up directing like family TV or sitcoms and stuff.
Well, you know what it is? They got all the money and the glitz and the glamour. They have a wife and kids, so they got to do something for the kids.
The bills. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like all the stories you hear about people like, oh yeah, that movie paid for this house. Well, why'd you do this movie? I had bills to pay.
Yeah.
Like Michael Caine, something like, oh yeah, it just paid for this house or whatever. That's like.
Speaking of Michael Caine.
Oh yeah.
Did you watch it?
No.
I told you to watch it, man.
What are you talking
about?
Did
I not?
No, what are you talking about?
I told you to watch Mona Lisa, man.
Mona Lisa?
It's on HBO Max.
Are you talking about that had Bob Hoskins in it too? That's what I was wondering. Okay, I knew you said something about Bob Hoskins because Noah, the other night I was driving around, the theme for the Long Good Friday came up 4 fucking times on shuffle. Okay? Probably my favorite song of 2019 or 2020, okay? Retroactively. Like that's going to be my number 1 single.
It's even though it's your soundtrack now.
Dude, if I could have it play every time I started my car to drive for the first 3 minutes, By the time I get on 77 to go to work, it's done. It's bum, 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 bam, 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 bam. It's fun. I would love it. I would.
Ours was always that Barham was gonna follow me behind one morning walking into school with like a guitar and a pocket amp and just be playing Cashmere. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
Well, see, for the longest time, mine was Slow Ride. Anytime I walked in somewhere, I wanted like Slow Ride to be playing. Like double doors open up at like Target. Slow Ride! That'd be perfect. Like that was what I wanted. Now I just want that to play because people will be like, is this guy part of is this the head of the London's underground? Like, is he about to have a long, bad, terrible Good Friday? Like, what's going on? Yeah. Okay, so I need to watch Mona Lisa.
100%.
Because we talked about it when we were talking year-end stuff. I don't think you threw it in there. One thing I wanted to do was to discuss some of the gems that you've come at me with what we've done this year, because they're movies that are brand new to me, and I wanted to call it New to Me in 2020. But like you had to say it that way to make it rhyme.
2020.
Yeah, exactly. Got maybe two E's instead of a Y. I don't know. But I wanted to do that because I feel like there are some that like we both may have gotten to as first times that didn't come out this year, that we want to, even if we've echoed them on other podcasts, we still want to be like, seriously, like we've said it on 2x2 retro reviews. Go fucking watch this movie this year.
Yeah.
This pandemic thing isn't ending anytime soon, so get on it.
I think based on the listenership, 2x2 is definitely something we should keep going into next year.
Yeah.
I think we already talked about trying to do at least one of those a month.
Oh, yeah.
So we at least have like 12 for the year.
Right.
So, okay.
So
watch Mona Lisa.
Right.
I don't know if I gave you this up. It's a Neil Jordan movie. It's 86, I believe. Hoskins, fresh out of prison after a 7-year stint. Needs to work. He's estranged from his wife and daughter, and he was with an organized crime outfit led by Michael Caine. Mm-hmm. And so now he needs a job, and he sets him up driving a call girl around. And things escalate from there. I don't want to say too much. Incredible movie, dude.
Okay.
So good.
All right.
One of those where I was just like, Gavin is going to eat this up. It's so good.
Yes, dude, I'm ready. I don't advocate watching stuff while you're driving, but I would. if I had HBO Max on my phone, I'd put it on right now.
Please don't watch this while you're driving.
No, of course not.
But yeah, great movie. I would love to. Maybe I'll just make that like the first pick of the year for 2x2 Retro Review. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely worth an episode. Really good stuff. Okay, we can jump back to TV.
Yeah.
We're playing fast and loose. So I know you haven't been on Netflix. I know. I get it.
The Queen's Gambit. Everybody's talking about it.
Dude, chess is sexy now. You just...
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it, Bobby Fischer.
Dude, I'm just telling you. I'm telling you right now because this was one of those 100% where it's like, it dropped. I love Anya Taylor-Joy. Mm-hmm. I do. But I didn't even watch the trailer for this thing. Like, I saw it was... I clicked past it so many times in the lead up to it coming out, and then I swear it's like the first weekend people were like, have you seen this fucking show? Have you seen, dude, chess? Have you heard about chess? And everybody just went wild for it. But here's the thing, it was a lot of also just people actually talking to each other or texting people, actually having conversations about it and just being like, oh yeah, but this is what I'm watching. Like, have you checked this out yet? And it's a true like word of mouth hit to the point where it was #1 for like two weeks straight, I think. And then The Crown season 4 is the first thing that's bumped it back to like the second slot. And
because The Crown season 4 has something to do with Diana, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think they're in the 80s now. Yeah. I haven't watched a single episode of The Crown. I've heard it's fantastic.
I've caught it in bits and pieces. I'm like, yo, I know what this is. This is when she because she makes him go to Wales. Like, she's gonna make him be the Prince of Wales. Like, I get it. I don't know. I pretend to know nothing about British politics, but I know nowadays the family really doesn't have any power. They never really have.
Yeah.
Last decade.
I learned all my British politics from the band Idols. That's about the extent of it.
I learned all mine from the band The Streets.
There you go. Dude, I know you love The Streets. Have you ever listened to Slow Tie?
Yes.
Okay, I was gonna say, right up your alley. I figured. No?
Listen, no, they are.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Listen, I got a question for you. I'm just going to ask you. Did you get duped?
No, I didn't watch
You
it.
got it, dude.
I mean, I've seen the video
Yeah.
with Run the Jewels, but
You would fucking
Yeah.
love it, dude.
good stuff.
Oh, it's good stuff.
That's on Amazon Prime.
It is. Amazon
Get
original.
Duked?
Get Duked.
Okay.
The
And
Duke
that's
of
a movie, not a
It's
series,
a movie,
right?
yes. It's all about these Scottish lads doing the Duke of Edinburgh challenge. It's so fucking bad shit, dude.
Okay.
It's so
I'll check it out.
I
don't
think
know if
you
it's
would
gonna
enjoy
crack the
it.
top 10 of the year, but we can talk about it. in the
It's
future.
definitely cracked my top 10. I promise you. I fucking loved it. I'll watch it again right now if you
Get
wanted to.
duked. Okay.
Yeah.
Huge
I
recommend.
don't know if you would.
from
I don't
Gavin.
know how you fall on that because, like, I know.
You know what?
I don't know how you are with like our former, overseers and rulers, the lords and ladies of the British Isles. I don't know how you feel about them. I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't consider myself an Anglophile, but I mean, they basically made all of our good television. They pretty much made it like 10 years prior,
Exactly.
and we just remade it. Like I mean,
Yeah.
we can get into it deeper if you want to, but like. I'm one of those people, one of those assholes that when everybody's like, "Oh, do you remember this thing on The Office?" I'm like,
Remember it 10 years ago.
I'm like,
when Ricky Gervais.
I'm like, I'm sorry. I remember The Office, the original Office. You can call it The American Office because it's not The Office. It's The American Office. What the fuck are we talking about here? The original is one of the best things ever made.
Hang on, wait a minute. Is there a British Parks and Rec?
No,
Okay, good. That's what I'm
probably
probably.
just don't know about it. But yeah,
Standards and practice. Is that what it's called?
exactly. I think that was a show on TNT.
Probably. Who
Probably.
knows?
Okay.
Are you thinking of The Practice? Is that what you're talking about?
No. What
You're
was
thinking Rizzoli and
I'm thinking Franklin and Bash.
Yes. Let's talk about all the canceled TNT shows.
Let's do it, dude. Let's get Mom to do a closer cast.
Oh my God.
Let's do that. But dude, okay, seriously, sorry, we got way sidetracked. The Queen's Gambit is the shit, dude. You
Okay.
need to check it out. It's one of those on paper. It just sounds like what, dude. Why do I want to watch a show about chess in the '60s with a female lead? Why? Why do I want to watch it? I'm sure some people have that reaction. But once you have like 3 or 4 of your friends all of a sudden who like don't usually tell you to watch stuff, and they're all like actively texting you like, dude, you fucking checked out Queen's Gambit? Have you seen this thing? Very much like the Stranger Things effect, honestly, of just like all of a sudden everybody got behind it and like people are continuing to watch it and rewatch it. 7 episodes, all of them written / co-written, and all of them directed by Mr. Scott Frank, who you will be familiar with as the writer of Out of Sight, the director and writer of The Lookout with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. You remember that one?
Yeah.
How solid that movie is. What are the other? There's some other big guns in the Scott Frank catalog, but he also did Godless on Netflix, Western series. Don't know if you ever checked it out. Really good stuff.
No, there is too much on Netflix.
He wrote Logan.
Okay.
He wrote Minority Report.
What?
Yeah, dude.
Wait, you mean Steven Spielberg
He
doesn't
wrote
write
and
all
directed
his
A
own movies?
Walk Among the Tombstones, which I'm sure you're on board with because it's got not only Liam Neeson but your boy Dan Stevens. You know.
You don't think I haven't watched A Walk Amongst the Tombstones like 3 times already?
I said I know. What did I just say?
I watched Cold Pursuit twice, Noah. You know what I watched last night? Clash of the Titans.
He wrote a movie that I'm sure you haven't thought of in forever, but I know you saw in a theater. Do you remember Flight of the Phoenix with
The
Dennis
remake,
Quaid?
yes. And Tyrese Gibson. And you know who else, Noah? Who you're forgetting in that movie? Giovanni Ribisi.
I never forget a Ribisi. You come at me like you know something about Ribisi. You get Shorty, dude. I mean, okay, legendary screenwriter.
Yeah, of course. Goes without saying.
And just kills it with the direct. It's like, dude, I didn't know there's like a new auteur in town who's been in town for like 2 decades, but or 3 decades at this point. What am I talking about? It's incredible.
Now,
it's just top to bottom. It's a great story, incredibly well told. It's like engrossing as hell. And the biggest endorsement I can give it, Veronica, who like is a tough sell on anything approaching a drama as a series, was just glued to it, like, and into it actively in episodes where she would be like, "Oh, girl, don't do that," or like just shit like that. And I'd be like, "Oh, she's really like invested in this," and I think it has that like universal appeal where it is very specific in its vision and like what it's about, but like
what is it
people
about?
It's about a child press prodigy, a child chess prodigy.
I said
Excuse
chess.
me.
I'm sorry.
Essentially, kind of like you could call her the female Bobby Fischer, but she's a fictional character. It's based on a book by Walter Tevis, very famous book. Read a book, Gavin. I literally never heard of it until 2 weeks ago.
I was going to say, yeah.
Okay. Walter Tevis, great author, apparently wrote a bunch of other cool shit that's been adapted into movies. I don't know.
Like Rain Man?
But yeah, she's orphaned at a young age. At an orphanage, she learns to play chess from sweet old Mr. Scheibel, the janitor. Okay? She becomes a wizard while also simultaneously getting addicted to tranquilizers, which are given to all orphans in the 50s, or apparently, to keep them docile during the day. So she has this connection of she's a brilliant chess player, but is she only that good because of the drugs? And is she going to destroy herself? Is she going to be able to mentally handle it? Bobby Fischer kind of lost his shit at a certain point, and a lot of chess masters, little wild upstairs.
Yeah, because you're not thinking about you're not thinking about your move. You think about the next move
and the move after that,
exactly.
And the one after that, and the one after that, before you make the first one.
Right.
The way they visualize the chess matches, I don't even want to spoil it for you. It's engrossing, and it's the kind of shit where it's 7 hours into it, as I'm watching the final episode and everything's coming together, and just it's one of the most satisfying finales in recent memory. And I'm sitting there, I'm 7 hours in. I don't feel like I know any more about chess than when I started. And it does not matter, because the way he shoots and edits and the performances tells you everything you need to know about what's going on and the dynamics and the tension of a match without you having to have the understanding of how everything works. On that note, I'm about to sound like the most basic person on the face of the planet. I literally, we finished the series, and that evening I downloaded a chess app for my phone to teach myself how to play, and now I'm playing with people online, and I'm shit is addictive once you get your head around okay, I understand how everything works, and now I see that it is the most complicated and complex thing on the face of the planet, and it is so simple in its setup, but the sheer variety of how things can play out is mind-bending.
Have you tried golf? Just wondering. I get it. I get it. It's
okay.
I like just to be able to jump them, and then you get a king, and then you can do whatever you want. I like the poor. Shit's just like checkers. Yes. Listen, I'm always gonna go simple, dude. I don't know if I have the mental capacity.
Playing basketball in Pelican Bay. Sorry. I can't do the next part. I can't do that on a podcast. I can't do it.
What are you doing? What bit is that?
Training day.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I got you.
He says, this shit's chess. It ain't checkers.
Okay. I got you. All right. Yeah, dude, it's been forever since I've seen Training Day.
It's just buried back here. That's one of those early ones where I was I think I'm not supposed to watch this. Gavin owns it on DVD. Yep. Definitely sneaking this out of his room as soon as he's not home.
I need you to know that, literally anything that I ever owned or had, all you had to do was ask. I would have felt completely okay corrupting and contributing to your overall decadence and watching the terrible movies that I watched, or stuff you weren't supposed to see. I don't feel like we're not that far apart to where I would be able to have a bunch of access to stuff that you wouldn't.
It just, I think Training Day was one of those that maybe Mom and Dad saw, or Mimi and Paul had watched, and it was oh, he can't see this one or whatever. It's too rough. That was usually the go.
Maybe, but I remember buying that from GameStop for pennies on the dollar, and that's why I had it, because it was the old
Snap card.
Yeah,
the old Warner Brothers, I think.
Yeah,
and New Line style cases.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, little trip down memory lane.
Oh yeah.
And now I want to watch Training Day.
Yeah, well, no. What's he got coming out that's new?
Fuqua?
No.
Ethan
Denzel.
Hawke. What's Denzel got?
I mean, he had Equalizer 2 last year, but what has he got? Something? Did he get anything that was pushed back? I'm just curious because I feel like you lose track of him, and then he just shows back up, and you're like, damn, Fences.
Let me check on him for you.
Yeah, please do. I'll be standing here with you. I was waiting.
I'll be standing there with it. We got some 2021. The Little Things, directed by John Lee Hancock, who did The Blind Side and The Highwayman and Saving Mr. Banks. That is starring your boy Rami Malek.
Oh, okay.
Denzel, Jared Leto. And that's pretty much everybody that's worth mentioning. 2 cops track down a serial killer.
Hey, who's the serial killer?
Release date, January 29th, 2021.
Oh.
Right around the corner.
Yeah.
Who's the serial killer? My money's on Leto.
Oh.
Not Malek.
And not Leto.
What?
You said Jared Leto was in it.
Yeah, I said my money's on Leto that he's the serial killer.
I thought
Sorry, what did I just...
No, the way that you said my money's on Leto, I was like, is that another actor who's playing the serial killer? I thought you were giving me someone else's name.
No.
So your money is on Jared Leto.
My money is on Jared Leto being the killer in The Little Things.
My money's on Leto. Like, what the fuck, man?
My money's on Leto.
Just the way you said it, I was like, is he telling me another actor's name?
I'll
What
have
the
to
fuck?
listen back to it.
Please
Sorry.
do. It's
Okay.
it's quite... Jesus
The
Christ.
other big one for 2021, which is in post-production. This is the one I'm excited about. It's a little movie called Macbeth.
Ooh. Who's he playing?
Shocker here. He's playing fucking Macbeth.
Oh, good.
Now, maybe a little more shocking. Who do you think Lady Macbeth is?
Margot Robbie. I don't know.
William Miller's mother, Franny Mac herself, Frances McDormand.
What?
And
So it's like...
you're like, wait, what is she doing in here? Well, if you look a little further down, written and directed by Joel Coen, Solo. Not a Coen Brothers movie, a Joel Coen special.
It's a Coen brother movie.
A Coen brother movie,
Yeah.
indeed. Yeah. I just love that this says this, but writing credits. Joel Coen, William Shakespeare. I'm
my
like,
God.
yeah, what, like, are you guys sticking with the text? Or is it totally like...
You got a
you're
Baz
just taking
Luhrmann
the
this
source
You
material?
got a Baz Luhrmann this
I'm
Joker
so
or what?
curious. I'm so curious. Dude, we got Brendan Gleeson as King Duncan.
Okay, that's what I was going to be my next question.
Harry Melling, who's in like everything, including the Queen's Gambit, as Malcolm. Dude, Brian Thompson from fucking Mortal Kombat Annihilation is Young Murderer.
Oh. Oh, we can have a discussion now if you want. If you want to go back to some TB, something that I killed, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, man. Lay it on me. Sorry, we just got a text from Veronica. She's going downstairs to work out, and she's like, hey, just let me know before you guys come downstairs.
Okay. Is it because she watches Jane Fonda workout tapes and she knows I don't like Jane
Bill
Fonda?
Bill Blank's typo.
Billy Blank's typo? Yeah. Okay.
Bill Blankenship. We have so many nicknames for him around this house.
You know, like, he really is like a badass. Like, if you actually try to fuck with him, he's not just
We've
an
been
aerobics
doing his
instructor.
videos for the last 6 months. Yeah, I know he's a badass. He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's great.
He's awesome. Like, you know him personally. I watched...
I feel like I do.
Yeah,
I've
you
been in
should.
his living room.
He's
Literally,
been in
he's
your
doing
living
ones
room.
in COVID. He's doing ones from his living room. He's doing like new videos now.
Wow, holy shit.
Oh, he's still at it, dude.
I'm
He's got
sure
the
he
kids
is.
in the background doing it with him.
Yeah.
He's like, this is your job now.
You work for
You
me.
get to work.
Okay, that's cool. I'm glad, good on Veronica.
Fitness never quits. I'm just saying.
Fitness never quits. It does, Noah. Fitness does quit. You know why? You know what I used to do before I did this with you? I went to the gym all the time. I am
Maybe you should ride your bike down here.
Take me 4 days to get here.
Just about.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
All right. I watched, to transition, I watched the third day.
There are no transitions.
But
continue.
there's no rules. I watched the third day.
The Ark of E podcast, where there are no rules. You finished the third day.
I watched it all.
Okay. I feel totally comfortable doing full spoilers for the third day.
Do it.
Because I will tell you, there's no fucking way it's on my top 10 list at the end of the year.
Okay.
Maybe it is for you.
Oh, it is, brother.
Okay. Well,
I
you need to
enjoyed
watch some more.
Listen, I get it, but listen, I enjoyed the shit out of this show. Not having seen anything that you the whole like look at the island deal or whatever. The idea that
Look at the island.
look
deal.
at this like
the 12-hour uninterrupted
Yes.
cinematic live stream take.
it just kept
never
buffering.
been done before.
It just
in
kept
history.
buffering. That's
Like,
all it was doing was buffering. I couldn't get it to queue up. I missed it. I went back and there's nobody down there.
Continue. God.
Listen, the turn that show takes to me is like out of left field, and we talked about it. When has Naomi Harris been bad in anything ever?
Yeah.
In the history of time? Never.
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 Literally never.
Exactly.
You want to talk shit about Miami Vice? You got two guys who are going to fight you about
Who
it.
fucking fight everyone about that. My point is that the spoilers, you want to get into that. When she comes in and tells him, "Are you fucking kidding? That was 10 years ago. He would not look like this now." I'm like, bro, they never told me that didn't happen 10 years ago. I thought this happened last week, last month. This is something new. I didn't realize. And as far as I know, again, I only watched it the one time. You're never told when that happened to the kid. So
Yeah,
you just, when did he, I don't remember him giving
There's
a
the
year.
whole bit where he lays everything out for Catherine Watterson about why he was there and what he was
Right.
doing at the river.
Right.
Okay, in the very first episode.
Right.
Which concerns, again, spoilers for the third day.
Yeah.
Okay. So when he comes across the hanging child that like leads him to the island, etc., he's placing the clothes of his dead son, presumed dead son, into the river where he was found. And he says to Catherine Watterson when he's giving, it's in the second episode when you actually get some details on like the background.
Right.
And he says every year he comes there and gives away some of his clothes.
Right.
And this was the last item.
Okay.
So it is implied that
Right.
clearly it was some time ago that this happened.
And this is what I'm
but
saying.
you have to be, it does not
To
like
the
spelled out for you.
exactly, but to the astute viewer who's going to watch it, talk about it on a podcast, a la a Noah Blanchard type, you would know that. But if you're a dumbass like me and you're just watching, it's like this guy's on an island, what's happening? We Wickerman it, what's going on? And then what? I don't know how many episodes later. It's the last episode. Whenever she finally meets him, and she's like, "Bro, this kid is not our kid. Like our kid would be 10 years older." Yeah. As a mind fuck, you're like, "Whoa, nobody told me." Wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then, but then at
I
the
took
end,
my eye off the ball for a second.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was so like invested in trying to figure out what was going on. I heard he was there with the clothes. I just never heard a year. So the idea that you know all this and then it's like, oh no, dude, like you're crazy. This kid is not you're our kid.
Well,
like what the hell?
again, not to like, I'm not playing the like smart card, but the older of the two girls, their daughters, she remembers the brother. The little one does not.
Right.
So clear, there's been like, she didn't know her brother because she was born either after or she was an infant when he passed.
Right.
So you can kind of gauge based on her age, like, yeah, it's been a while.
Right.
But
But then the
still-
kid at the end being
but
like,
still, no,
I don't
when
blame
you
you for
see-
what you said. Like
when
what?
when you first see the kid again, you're just like, okay, what is even going on here? Is this the ghost of his child?
Right.
Like, what's going on? And then when they start to lay out to you, like, no, we preserve. I had the same thing where I was like, why is the kid not aged? I was like, what's going on here?
Right.
And then I was like, is this some supernatural thing with the island?
Exactly.
Like he's been preserved or something.
Exactly.
And
because
so
they talk
I'm
about
going
that.
down all of these different roads, and then so yeah, when she comes in and she's like, "You are fucking crazy, and I want you out of our life, and the only reason I came here is to get the money that you took in the first part of this,
Yes.
like the first episode." I was just like, "Yes, please get the hell away from Jude Law."
Yeah.
And dude, I will tell you that I had the bridge of the 12-hour live stream and his performance within that. I feel like it's even more jarring to go from the end of 3 and then when you're reintroduced to him basically in the final episode.
Right.
And it's like night and day. He's a completely different person.
Right. That I could appreciate.
But I saw him getting seduced by the island.
Right.
Like in the 12-hour live stream. I saw some more of that stuff. More of the weird, like, yeah. But again, I did not expect like that finale to culminate with like Jude Law's like shotgunning some of these people, a lot of like deaths out of nowhere, a lot of really
stabbing the shit out of people,
bloody, violent deaths, and then. But yeah, as soon as that scene happened where she's basically like, "You're a fucking lunatic. I'm just here for the money," I was like, "Yes, I just want you and these girls to get out of here. That's all I'm concerned about. I don't want to know what the island is about anymore. I don't need you to explain anything else. I just want you and these girls to get out of here." And that is literally the note that it ends on. Is like they got the fuck out of there.
You know, and you get that little bit where you don't know, and then they huddle up and all that, and it's like that's why again like. It's one of those, I equate it to, it's so crazy to think, I'm not trying to make the same conclusion, but I equate it to like the Blackbriar or whatever episode of Black Mirror where you think, oh my God, this girl, she's being chased. And then you're like, oh no, this girl's a fucking terrible person. She did this to a child. White Bear. Maybe it is.
I think so.
It's White Bear, Blackbriar. I don't know, whatever. White Bear, maybe it is. No, White Bear is the thing they're going after in the black and white episode. I thought this was Blackbriar. I don't know. Look it up. But the twist in that of like you invested so much in this girl and you wanted her to be safe, and then you found out, oh, she's terrible. Fuck her. I'm completely okay with what's going on. It felt like the same kind of twist in this because it's like, just Jude Law gonna find his son? What's going on? Are they gonna make him this and that? And when you get to Naomi Harris and you're kind of White Bear. Okay, yeah, sorry. You get like the rational, like, no, I just want the money and I just want this of it all. I'm so on board, like you said, with just her getting the fuck out of there. I could give a shit less about all the stuff I knew about Jude Law. Don't care about it. Don't care about this person in the island. These people are trying to take over, and there's this and there's that, and we staged all this, and like I could care less about that. You take your babies and you get off the island and you never come back.
Yeah. You
know what? Just do it. By hook or by crook. Yeah. Wrap that rope around you and fucking start swimming. So to me, that's one of the reasons why it was there. The notes that it hit to begin with were great to reel me in. But as soon as I realized, well, this isn't the rodeo I thought I was at.
Yeah.
I'm like on board, and it delivers on that front too. And I can't blame them. And I enjoyed the shit out of it.
I thoroughly enjoyed the show. Do not get me wrong. I was maybe a little let down with the ultimate trajectory of it because maybe wanting it to lean more into the Wicker Man side of things a bit, honestly. I mean, that's what I was hoping for, but I liked all of the subversions of that at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
The main reason I just said that it's not going to be on my top 10 is it's been a fantastic year for television once again, and I have just a ton of shows that I liked even more, and it was one that was a little more... I enjoyed the project as a whole, and again, in isolation, I think that 12-hour live stream was like such an achievement and like something that should be preserved for time, just the fact that they pulled it off.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, I still highly recommend people checking it out. It's only 6 episodes. Like, come on, give it a shot. The one thing I did really miss, and I know it's purposeful, but the first 3 were directed by one crew, essentially. And I think it's sync crew, rather, but different directors for the 2 parts, which, again, it's about perspective, so I understand when Naomi Harris comes in, it's pretty chill. It's pretty, like, it's a little more to the ground, like, not these weird flights of fancy and, like, crazy, more cerebral, like, abstract sort of sequences. But I did miss that because the first chunk of the show is, like, visually stunning. Especially the stuff they're doing when they're like tripping. I think that's the second day, right?
Right.
Or is that the end of the first night? Because they wake up together the second day.
Yeah,
right?
The first night he goes out and gets the money out of the car.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's the reveal of that. But yeah, the more surreal visual flourishes and stuff that you got in the first part, I understand why they weren't there, but I missed that surreal aspect to the show in the back half. Even though I did love that it's a tonal shift. It's not a bait and switch, but it's not quite what you thought it was. It's not where you thought it was going.
Yeah.
But great performances all around.
Oh yeah.
And again, the sheer range of, in particular, Jude Law across the 2 parts and the live stream. I can't imagine how satisfying that is for an actor to like get to. I mean, I guess it's the equivalent of doing theater, but you're playing him in different points in time and in different mediums almost at the same time. Like, just, yeah. That seems like a really interesting project overall. Okay. Recommend the third day. I'm telling you, you got to watch Queen's Gambit. And I'm sure more people are going to yell that at you as well. I told you to watch Fargo, season 4. Got to do it. This is how we're going to get you on board. Just to wrap up TV, we already talked Lovecraft Country, right? During October? We definitely did that. We haven't really talked about The Boys season 2. I kind of want to save it because I think let's
save it for end of the year.
Might be coming up. I know you have HBO Max, of course, so I will reiterate once again, I really want you to check out Primal. I know you're not huge on like animated series in general, but part 2 of season 1 finished up, so now there's a total of 10 episodes. It's incredible. It's great. It's Jendy Tartakovsky's Primal. It's available on HBO Max.
I see it before Eric Andre. It's like
so you've been watching Eric Andre.
Yeah. Okay. It's on out front all the time.
Gotcha.
I haven't been watching that on Max. I've just been watching the new stuff after the election thing and the new series dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm digging the hair.
It's the lack thereof.
Yeah, the great look.
Yeah. Okay, I'm currently watching The Undoing. I've only watched the first episode. There's 2 more left. This is the HBO. It was pushed. It was supposed to come out earlier this year. It's Nicole Kidman.
Have like she have like a contract, like a day player contract with him? She's in like every fucking show they do.
It's Big Little Lies in this. What are we talking about?
She's been in she's been in a ton of other HBO stuff, right?
Like what?
I'll get back to you.
Like what?
I'll get back to you.
No, but this is very much in the Big Little Lies vein. It's one of those that like the show is getting made because Big Little Lies was a huge success. Excuse me. Even though the second season, great ratings, even though people like trashed it, myself included.
Was that this year?
Big Little Lies season 2 was last year.
End of last year.
Yes. And again, I enjoyed it week to week, but like overall, it does not compare at all to that first season, which is incredible. But this is kind of a runner that they're getting into. Like Sharp Objects is in this territory as well, where it's you gotta have some sort of murder mystery going on.
Yeah,
you gotta. But I love these. I'm saying I'm in the bag for them. And it's usually rich or wealthy people behaving badly in some way or another. There's some soapy elements to it usually. But the setup for this one, I've only watched the first episode, so I'll just give this to you. But rich, affluent white people who live on the Upper West Side.
They kill a prostitute.
Hugh Grant, Nicole Kidman, Noah Jupe, who was in Honey Boy, the Shia LaBeouf movie.
Yeah.
He's their son. He's fantastic. They live on the Upper West Side. His school, Nicole Kidman is like heavily involved in. She's on like some sort of like mom's council where they get together and bitch about all sorts of different stuff.
Sounds like another show I know.
And basically a new woman comes into the fold who's like, she's a new mom at school. Very similar to Big Little Lies season
sounds like
1.
another show I know.
Okay. And she's like, I don't know where she's from or whatever, but they're not as affluent. Like the kid's a scholarship kid essentially.
Sounds like another show I know.
Yep. And so she's out of her element, etc. And
Hugh Grant is the father of that child, right?
That obviously
is going to be
based on the first episode. I was like, well, I already know how this ends. So because I had it called in the first episode, I'm like, well, clearly it can't be that, right? But basically, by the end of the first one, we know this from the opening, but homegirl ends up dead. Okay,
Oh.
The mom of the new mom at school ends up dead.
Huh?
And Hugh Grant, nowhere to be seen.
Oh,
He just disappeared. You're like, the hell? He's on a business trip. I don't know. He's not coming back. And so, yeah, it looks like it's, Nicole Kidman eventually is going to discover that. But then just from this season on trailer or whatever, you're like, okay, she gets implicated in it. And it's like, I can already see this. They're going to play a whole thing where it's like, we're on her side and we're like, there's no way she could have done this. And then the final moments of the last episode, she's going to turn towards camera and she's going to look and she's going to give that Anthony Perkins look from the end of Psycho. And we're just going to be like, oh shit, she did
that
it.
bitch did that
Cut
shit.
to credits. I've already got it mapped out in my brain, right?
Okay.
But I've only seen the first episode. And I am basically Because, dude, I'll be honest with you, it was so fucking good. Like, it's, even though I know where all of this stuff, or at least I feel like I know where it's going, I'm like, these are almost like new tropes of this little subgenre of show. So where's the subversion's gonna come in? Are they gonna play with it, or is it literally gonna be Big Little Lies? We're just gonna keep remaking
New York
this show every year.
Big Little Lies, New York.
Yeah,
Big
East
Little
Coast.
Lies, Miami.
Big Little Lies,
It's
East
going to be
Coast.
the Real Housewives of fucking shows.
Totally here for it if that's what's gonna happen. But yeah, do them as isolated seasons. That was the big mistake with Big Little Lies season 2. Bring in Meryl Streep. Keep all those same ladies. New story, new city, different stuff. Move on.
Yeah.
Move on.
Let Zoe, or not, was it Zoe?
Yeah, let Zoe Kravitz have an actual character.
No, let
Do
her
not
take the
keep
fall
her-
where she was like, I would just said it was self-defense. Because that was the thing. When I saw that, I think I watched, is that in the first episode of season 2?
Probably.
Where she says something wrong to the effect of like, you should have just let me say that it was self-defense and back me up. As soon as I heard that, I was like, I'm done. And I quit watching. That was it. I didn't watch any of the second season. I was like, she said it right there. You should just done that.
They do Zoe Kravitz so dirty throughout that whole show. And the second season in particular, too, where they're oh yeah, we're going to give you more of a role, but we're literally going to like introduce your mom as a character, and we're going to isolate all of your scenes are going to be just with your mom. And you're not going to interact with like any of the main leads. And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Because you're still having to deal with what happened. Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
Who is the guy that's her husband? Reese's ex. Who is the dude?
I don't know the actor.
But he looks from. I'm trying to think. I was trying to think. Was he familiar? Because I knew Adam Scott.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think who the other dude was because I felt like he was a somebody, but I couldn't think of his name, and I didn't bother to look him up because I don't care that much. Yeah. Utopia.
The Amazon series.
Yes.
We're transitioning now. Have not watched it specifically. We were talking about this earlier. This is another case. This is a British show.
No.
Yes, it is.
Really?
The original
Really
came out several years ago. It's not readily available to stream anywhere, and it probably won't be because in America, at least, they want the Amazon Utopia to be the Utopia that we know. The reason I have not watched this yet is because I still have not been able to get my hands on the original, which I have heard from multiple people is one of the best shows ever made. Full stop. And I like a lot of the actors that are involved with it. So, and in fact, some of the guys who worked on the original Utopia worked on the third day.
Okay.
Okay. So
what we've come to the conclusion is that like people across the water, like they know what they're doing.
The water.
You blokes over no, that's too many different accents. Basically, what you're telling me is everything I love is British. You're just already affirming everything I already knew.
Yeah.
The Brits did it better.
So you can tell me about Utopia, but I would still like for you to be vague because I know the setup. But
what's the setup? Tell me the setup.
It's essentially they find out that in the world of this story, they find out that a comic book is actually real. Is that correct? Like the comic book is not fiction, it's actually an actual story about a place.
And a person.
Okay?
Yes.
But that's the general conceit, is people realizing like fiction is actually fact.
That's like see, that's why, well, now I gotta watch this because it's, hey, this comic book came out and it predicted a bunch of shit.
Okay.
Now we've heard that there's a new one called, that was Dystopia. Now Utopia is around, and it's a one of a kind. It's not something that was released everywhere, and people love it so much they're finding clues in every cell, every frame of it, and somehow in there it's spelling out that, well, maybe there's a new virus that's on its way. And then you start hearing rumblings of like, well, yeah, these kids are getting a flu-like thing. And it's happening in these sporadic places. Why is it happening not on a pandemic scale, but it's almost like it's being delivered? Mm-hmm. Is it in the fake meat protein that John Cusack's character is made? It can't be. Is it? Is it not? And why is it that, I'm just going to leave it to this, Noah. Why is it that the two kids who find Utopia, they decide they're going to let people try and buy it at an auction at a hotel? And why is it that two people show up and murder every single person who got a look at Utopia?
Okay.
Yeah.
Again,
One of my favorite shows this year. I did not know that John Cusack could be a bad guy, but he is so fucking perfect as a bad guy.
Have we not talked about the Paperboy? Have we not talked about the Paperboy?
The Paperboy.
Have you seen the Paperboy?
You're talking like Matthew McConaughey, the Paperboy?
McConaughey, Nicole Kidman,
and that's a different story.
Efron.
That's like listen.
That was some of the wildest shit
it was,
Cusack has ever done on
dude.
camera.
It was,
dude.
but that's like
talk about going.
That's
for
a crazy Florida Charles Starkweather whatever kind of shit. This is I'm not bad. What I am doing is going to help everyone.
Yeah.
Why am I the bad guy? This is the best villains are the ones who don't think that they are wrong.
Right.
That's what this is on a massive scale.
Okay.
To the point that later on in the series, they're like, well, we could do this and do that. He's like, yeah, I just told you it would be a fucking trap. What are you doing? Like, he's just, I don't know. I want to watch, now I do really want to try and find this British show.
Again, that's literally the only reason I haven't watched it, is because it just, when I saw it was coming out, it made me even more angry that I'm like, dude, I'm going to have to do a Black Mirror and like literally go back to illegally downloading stuff like I did with the first 2 seasons of Black Mirror when you couldn't get them over here.
See, that's the thing. If you got a show that Amazon doesn't want anyone to see because they have the American version of it, where's Hulu and Max and Netflix being like, whoop, whoop, we got it. Let me get the IP for this shit.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, I don't know why. That's fucking ridiculous, man.
Yeah. So, I'm going to have to go check it out.
Okay.
How many episodes for that?
8. Not long. I don't know where we get into.
And probably a standalone, I would assume. It's like a limited series. Beginning, middle, and end? Or you're thinking there might go multiple?
Oh, they definitely are going to go multiple.
Oh, okay.
It's so set up to go multiple.
Again, that's the American way. We take the British thing and then we just keep making it and keep making it. Because God forbid a story have a beginning, middle, and satisfying end. A la the British Office. The defense rest. It's 13 episodes. Fucking incredible. You did not need to make 100 and something of them.
Whoa. No. You tell me the original The Office, from Ricky Gervais' The Office, is 13 episodes.
6 episodes first season, 6 episodes second season, and a Christmas special. 13 episodes.
What the fuck?
Yeah, you could watch it in an afternoon.
Wow.
Yeah. And literally bawl your eyes out at the end of it, because it's one of the most satisfying things, because you're like, I met these characters, I came to love them, and now I get to see what happens to them. Not like see what happens to them, but I get like a satisfying end for like, this is where we're going to leave everybody.
You don't think I cried at the end of Parks and Rec, which is essentially just The Office in a different place?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Me too.
Well, that's
and
wild.
Again, I
dude.
have no objections to Parks and Rec, but I just have never been able to get into the American Office, mainly because, and I know it went off and it became its own thing. I 100% get it. I know people love it. But I could never get past the first handful of episodes because they are like literally shot for shot, beat for beat remakes of some of the bits from the British Office, and I'm like, these just don't hit the same.
You know what it is, dude? It's the fucking... Oh, well, again, Office, Rainn Wilson is also in Utopia.
Right.
I think it's just the fucking, like, the smugness of it all. It's like how, like, I've never seen Napoleon Dynamite, but, like, everybody at school talked about Napoleon Dynamite, you know? And it's like, I've really only watched maybe...
It's like how I hated Napoleon Dynamite, because I was like, guys, I've been watching weird, cool indie movies for, like, 5 years now, and all of a sudden you guys all like one. And I'm supposed
like
to
Nacho
love it just
Libre.
because
I remember people loving Nacho Libre, and I'm like, that's
same director.
It's okay. It's all right. It's not the best movie. Why do we like this?
Nacho.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one thing people like, and his mustache and the curly hair.
You just named 3 things, dude. That's all you need.
He's 3 things. That's it. Okay, cool.
Huge box office failure, by the way.
It was. Yeah, no, I do. I remember that.
No,
I remember thinking,
yeah,
serves you right is what I remember thinking. Like, Napoleon Dynamite wasn't that great of a movie.
That's all right.
Yeah. But I think that's the
I
whole
just
thing.
actively was more resistant to it, I'm saying, because I'm like, guys, I've been telling you to watch Wes Anderson movies for like 5 years. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. But
A little pretentious little shithead.
Exactly.
little
That's the thing
13-year-old asshole. That's what I was.
Yeah. But, like, that's the thing with The Office.
seen.
It's like people...
So seen, bro.
God, you're so seen. Oh, my God. Hanging out with the Christian Collective Coffee House watching the
four,
latest bands.
like 4 people that we know just laughed really,
really
hard.
fucking hard. Yeah.
Anyways,
You know what I was thinking about so soon, dude?
what's that, brother?
I was thinking about all the random like one-hit wonders that I thought were amazing, but like they either aren't bands anymore or they're just that they had like one good song.
Or they were revealed to be like terrible human beings or
Yes,
something.
that too.
For one reason or another.
Right, yeah.
They're either like an abuser or they're like a avowed white supremacist.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then you sit
wild
back
scene.
and,
Wild scene out
you sit
there.
back and think like, oh yeah, vegans, straight edge guys, AFI. No wonder they're still kicking. They're just not in any bad shit. I got
Right.
it.
Okay. Shit, I hit. Oh, dude, you watching Mandalorian, bro?
No, not right now. I'm waiting for all that to come out so I can
come
watch
on,
all again.
man. We gotta talk about it.
I will make sure that I have it wrapped by whatever is out by the time we sit down to do TV.
Yeah, so this will be episode 4 coming up this Friday, and I think that means 4 more. I think they're doing 8 once again. It's just a blast, man.
It is.
It's just
And technically, did we get this? When did it come out? It started about this time last year, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, right around the time that fucking Rise of something was coming out. I don't really remember it that well. Have you even watched Rise of Skywalker?
Rise
yet?
of Palpatine.
Have you even watched it yet?
Yeah, I saw it in theaters.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember. Did we? You like? It was on your year-end list.
I loved it.
We talked about this.
Yeah.
I fucking no, not on board with it, dude. Give me like 10 more seasons of this show, and you never have to make another movie again.
Right.
I don't need it. Like
you
I
bring
really
in-
don't need it.
No, do
you
you
give me
bring
8
in-
episodes of this every year? I'm fine. Your brand will stay strong. You won't dilute it at all. Just like it's okay.
Well, what if you? Well, okay, so what if you What if you bring in characters from whatever time? I mean, are you even told? Just answer me this: are you even told anything about the time period that this is supposed to take place in?
Have you watched any of the Mandalorian?
I have, but I don't know when it's supposed to be.
It's after the fall of the Empire. It's right after Return of the Jedi.
But before the First Order and like Kylo Ren, right?
25 years before.
Okay, good. I thought that was
This
the
is
case.
literally like the Death Star. Death Star 2 got blown up like a couple months ago. Like that's what we're dealing with timeline wise.
Gotcha. All right.
Like the Empire's in disarray. There's no leadership at
Hang
the
on,
top.
can
There's
we-
still all these revenants.
Can we
of,
talk
like,
about something real quick?
what?
Do we think Giancarlo Esposito is just going to come into every show? Because he comes into
This
the
is
boys.
his bag, dude.
He comes into like
Yeah.
he's like the Rock for TV shows.
He is like the secret sauce, dude.
He
And I know.
is.
I mean, some people are like, "Well, he's just doing the same thing on all of these." I'm like,
I don't care.
because Gus Fring is like iconic at this point. Why would you not hire that when you're like, dude, I really want somebody to bring like that Gus Fring energy. Why don't we just fucking get Giancarlo Esposito? Like, just get him in here.
Yeah.
And there's subtle variations here and there. He's not just phoning it in and like doing this one note thing.
I loved him in The Boys, dude. I thought he was great in that
He's
show.
great in The Boys as well. Yeah. And again, I just saw him on Better Call Saul earlier this year too, as Gus Fring still.
Yeah.
Which people are like, if you're not watching Better Call Saul, it's like you're getting even more of like one of the best villains in history. It's just like, yeah, we know where things end for him, but like it's still fun spending time with spending time with him. But he's incredible, dude. And so yeah, having watched now, and spoiler alert, he's already shown back up in Mandalorian season 2.
Good.
He was at the end of season 1,
Yeah.
of course, Moff Gideon. But dude, 2 is just crazy. You started to say something about them bringing in like characters from the universe.
Yeah, would you do that?
There's so much. The first episode of season 2, I already told you this.
Yeah, it's
Ola Fantastic.
Yes.
Who's playing an EU character who you probably know from a video game or something. I don't know.
he's playing the man that takes Boba Fett's armor,
Yeah.
which leads us to believe that Boba Fett did survive the Sarlacc pit.
What would probably also lead us to believe that, spoiler alert, again, if you're not watching this week to week, is the fact that Tamor Morrison,
Who
Boba
played
Fett,
Jango Fett?
yes, who essentially would be grown up Boba,
Yeah.
shows up at the end of the first episode and is like,
Wait, what?
he shows up.
Wait, no.
What?
I said who plays Jango Fett.
Tamor Morrison plays Django.
Right.
But presumably, a grown-up Boba would look like Tamor Morris.
Because he's
would
a clone.
you agree?
Yeah, no, okay. I thought you were telling me that the actor who is the child Boba Fett is taking this role over. I thought that's what you were going back and forth with. Yeah, the guy who played Jango, Boba Fett's dad, is playing Boba Fett. It should have been, perfect call. Yeah. Great casting. Good job, Disney. Yeah. I read that and was like, okay, great.
Yeah.
When's the Fett showing back up?
P.S. Fucking pay your employees and stop yelling about reopening Disney World in California.
Yeah.
Chill the fuck out. Pay your employees. If their jobs are all at risk, take some of your billions upon billions of dollars and pay your fucking park workers and shut the fuck up.
Listen, pay them in Disney dollars. You can do that. You got the money. You've been printing it.
We're just a jolly old mouse over here who don't give a shit about any of the little guys.
Or the Jew. Ooh, no, I'm not going to say that.
We're just going to shove Baby Yoda in your face so you won't think about any of this shit. Oh, God, there's people like petitioning to reopen the parks. It's like, guys, million new cases? What? I don't even know what it's at right now. Like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
I mean, you just think...
You just want more Disney Plus subscriptions. Just, like, inject this shit into people's eyeballs while they're in quarantine right now. Get them hooked on it, and then raise the price in 2021. You want to recoup all your shit.
No, you don't remember. You don't realize. Sorry. Disney was banking on, like, this bankrupting the government so that they could bail... No, they could bail out the government. And then guess what? 5 years from now... we have the first annual Hunger Games. Okay? That's what Disney wanted to happen. Spectrum, Viacom, Time Warner, that conglomerate, they were hoping so as well, but when it didn't happen, they gave you that Peacock network to try and compete and take market share. You mark my words. Disney, Viacom, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, basically, and... Berkshire Hathaway. Those are going to be the four big companies.
Where's GE in all of this? They own all of those, right?
Does GE? Maybe. I
always just used to. It's like if you took a look for a second and looked at what GE actually like had.
Oh yeah.
It's conspiracy hour on the Ark of E.
Yeah.
What are we talking about,
dude?
But I always just was like, GE sure owns a lot of shit. Got their fingers in a lot of. They're tendrils in a lot of places.
Well, you know what it is? At the end of the day, it probably all goes back to Standard Oil, Noah. Honestly. When Standard came up with the idea... Seriously. Sorry. When Standard came up with the idea of, oh no, it's a trust. Like, it's not really my business, but it is my business. Legally, I don't own that, but I fucking own that. Yeah. Like, whatever lawyer decided that for Rockefeller back in the day... single-handedly changed the entire landscape of the American economic system. And that's why we need you to go to Patreon and donate whatever you feel necessary.
.com/theArkofE. Great segue. Really appreciate
Sometimes I have it, dude. This is fucking fun. I wish we did this more often.
Talked. Had a conversation.
Yeah.
Try to make each other laugh. Yeah.
I live for the moments when you laugh. When you send me text messages that are all caps, bah, I live for those moments because I know the face, I know the sound, I know exactly what's going on when I see those. And so that's why I appreciate that.
I type in BA on my phone and it has my, I just got it right there. Okay. I'm done with TV, I think. I started Moonbase 8, which is on Showtime, which I don't have access to, but the first episode was free on Apple TV Plus.
Now, why would you do that to yourself? What's the deal with Apple TV?
It sucks. That's my hot take. After I'm gonna cancel it today, actually, because this reminds me that I need to cancel it. Yeah. It's $5 a month. You could presumably hang on to it. Here's the thing: they want to be a new Amazon. I already have Amazon, dude. But they want to be Amazon without any free streaming movies that are not originals. Okay, so. What Apple TV Plus is essentially at this point is all of their original programming. So if you want to go watch stuff like Defending Jacob or Servant or Mythic Quest, the new Rob McElhenney show, or Ted Lasso with your boy Jason Sudeikis. If you want to watch Greyhound, the Tom Hanks movie. If you, like me, wanted to watch the new Sofia Coppola On the Rocks with Bill Murray and Rashida Jones.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I'll do the free trial so I can watch it. If you want to watch those things, you're good. What you're going to do with it after that, I have no idea, because there's no library of free streaming stuff like there is on Prime or Hulu or Netflix. It is essentially, they want you to buy your channels the same way you do on Amazon for Showtime, for HBO. They want to be your hub for all of this premium content so that Apple's getting a little off the top of these subscriptions. That's what they want, and then it essentially connects to the iTunes store where you can pay substantially more money to rent a movie through your iTunes than if you just went over to your Amazon Prime and rented it there. I'm talking like $2 to $3 difference depending on the movie in some cases. So Apple TV Plus sucks as an app at this point. I can't tell you that there's any reason to have it for longer than a month. You can binge all of the shows I just said, and watch all of the original movies they have right now. Excuse me. They also have Boys State, which is apparently one of the best documentaries of the year. Haven't watched it yet. And they have the Beastie Boys story, directed by Spike Jonze, which I will probably also check out before I cancel my subscription. But that's it. Other than that, it is a hub. They just want to be Amazon, like we have our channels through Amazon. That's what they're trying to do. And they want you to stay in the Apple ecosystem of like buying an iTunes, et cetera, et cetera. So you may want to do that. I know
No,
you're
I
an
don't.
Apple
I
Music
don't.
person.
On the PlayStation, when it comes up, there's some things that say Apple TV, and I'm like, that thumbnail looks good, but if it's anything like I think thumbnail shit is, I'm not gonna like it, so I'm not gonna bother with it.
That again, $5 a month, not a crazy
No.
price point comparatively, but even for what's available, cannot recommend Apple
I
TV
cannot.
Plus.
I know.
If you want to watch On the Rocks for free, do that. If you want to watch Greyhound for free, do that.
I cannot
And
do
then get out
another
of there.
service. There's already too much. Okay.
Oh, too many. 100%.
There's too
Here's
much.
what I boiled it down to. It's Netflix, Prime, HBO Max. Those are the three you need.
Those are the three we have. So
That's
of course
what
they're
I'm saying.
going to be what
Now,
you boiled it down to.
Hulu, which thankfully I also have access to now as well, also has great originals, and they have FX on Hulu, which is essential if you are a non-cable person. Because
Right.
if
I
you're
was going to say, if
missing
you
out
were worried
on-
about...
if you're missing out on FX specifically, you're missing out on some of the best prestige television in the game right now.
Right.
Consistently great stuff. The only network, in my opinion, that rivals HBO on a regular basis, just in terms of the sheer quality and consistency of the stuff they put out. And HBO doesn't always hit a home run with their big flagship series, but for every one of those that's kind of a stinker, there's like 3 or 4 smaller ones that you didn't even realize came out that are like incredible. So pound for pound, I still think HBO's got the top slot in terms of quality programming. Netflix is the sheer shotgun approach. We've talked about that. There's just so much of it. But there are gems within there for sure. And then Prime's always sitting over there, and I'm just like, great selection of classics and stuff that I usually haven't seen, and just like also just B movies and shit that you would never like act. But if it's free streaming, if it's in front of your first 3 sliders or whatever.
No, I watched RoboCop 3 and 2. Okay.
And you didn't watch 1.
No, I know 1. I know 1 too well. It's real simple.
Fair enough.
You know, Kurtwood Davis is in it, or whatever his name is.
Kurtwood Smith.
Smith, Davis, same thing. And
Is it Paul? Who's
Paul Dano?
No. I thought it was maybe Paul Davis. That's fucking Romano from ER, but no,
Yeah.
it's Paul something, isn't it?
Something, I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah.
RoboCop's great.
But dude, I remember 3 because I was like, "What is it?"
I remember
Why is
3 on VHS.
Yeah,
It's just because it's the one we had.
yeah, because it was
PG-13 because we could watch it. Because we definitely were not going
it just amazes me that like 87 is 2, 91 is Terminator 2, right?
91 or 92. I think 91's right. Yeah.
And so the answer to the greatest sci-fi movie, one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time, is a PG-13 third installment of your... I don't think they were competing at all. I know people put them together later because like RoboCop versus Terminator, all that. But like the third one was the one you put out after T2, thinking that anybody would go see it, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it at all.
And 2's the one with the shitty little kid, right?
Yeah, but
The
you
kid
also...
villain.
But you know who else was in there?
Who?
Tom Noonan. Kane.
Good old Newton.
Nuke. Yeah, the shitty little kid who like
You know what we might need to do at some point in the future? Maybe it's a retro review.
Oh, what is that?
Fucking Knock Around, guys.
Oh yeah.
Haven't seen it in forever.
Yeah. Okay.
One of those movies that I was like addicted to.
Yeah.
Post Fast and the Furious.
Strangely for some reason I was like, what is it about this movie that Noah fucking loves?
Well, it was the combination. It was just all of those guys all at once. It was like I thought Barry Pepper was like the next big thing. I was already in love with Vin Diesel at the time, and the other thing, it was Mom, man. We both went in hard on Vinny D.
And you know what? You pulled out really quick.
God.
You pulled out really quick after that.
This past weekend?
No, I didn't.
Bone Diesel? I gotta fucking show you Bone Diesel, dude.
Show me Bone Diesel after we finish with this show, dude. You
I just gotta pull it up so I don't forget.
Yeah, but like you pulled out of that rather quickly for some reason because I went to see Babylon AD with Mom.
Oh, I was out. I was
in
out
theaters. Okay,
I was out before Fast and the Furious 4.
Right. Yeah.
Fast and Furious, right?
Right.
Fast, Furious. What was it?
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious, no thes.
Yeah. But you gotta hand
Lose
it to
the.
Yeah.
It's cleaner.
Yeah. It's like
Get me JT in a Fast and Furious movie.
Hey, it could happen, man. I mean, but you gotta love that he like single-handedly like revamps this franchise while getting money to make other things. You know? Like, yeah, I'll come do this, but you're going to finance my Riddick movie, like my third Riddick movie that I've been wanting to make, which I've never seen, and I don't think was that great. Do you want to just take a pause and show me Bone Diesel, or do you want to like...
show you Bone Diesel.
Is that the whole reason why he has a shaved head this year? Is to do this bit? Oh my God! This is so... Oh my God. Bone TV. Jesus Christ, man.
Bone Diesel.
Bone Diesel on Bone TV.
Oh my God, dude. I was dying laughing. He looks so much like him. It's
That's
disturbing.
why
It's so disturbing.
That's why I asked. Was the shaving of the head
No,
bit...
dude, he's done so much other stuff with it. But when he popped up as Diesel, dude, I was like, what? It's so perfect. Speaking of which, I don't think we ever addressed this. This was like a couple months back at this point. What'd you think of the Vin Diesel single?
What are you talking about?
He's a singer now.
Oh, he's always been a singer, dude. You
No.
just didn't know it. I don't know what you're about to play me, so honestly, I have no idea.
Gavin's already like, I like this.
That's Vin Diesel for real? Get the fuck out of here, dude. Is that his... Wow. What kind of auto-tune is on this? What kind of like distortion?
Who knows, dude? A lot of shit.
This can't be his singing voice.
There's no way.
It can't be. How many filters are on this? Seriously.
He likes EDM, baby. I don't know what to tell you. He has one song. That's it.
Listen, if you, I'm gonna hit you with the same thing Dad hit me with. I played Dad something off of 808 and Heartbreak, and he thought it was amazing. And I told him it was Kanye West, and he's like, I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
So if you'd just been like, hey, listen to this, I'd have been like, I probably would have been bobbing with the beat and like fucking getting into it. And then you're like, oh, by the way, that's Vin Diesel. My mind would have been blown and be like, oh my God, Vin Diesel's amazing.
Dude, when I walked into work and said, you heard the new Vin Diesel? Like, I could not wait to do it because I was just like, everybody's gonna be like, wait, what? What is he? I'm like, he's making EDM now.
It's one of the things you have to do is you just play it, but don't tell them because the surprise is way better.
Yeah.
If they don't know it's him going into it, you get the honest reaction like, I kind of like this. And then when you hear it's Vin Diesel, people might feel indifferent about it. But if they know it's, if they know it's Vinny D going in, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, wait a minute. How am I supposed to feel about this? Because I was waiting to hear him sing in what I thought was a terrible singing voice, not this auto-tuned whatever that was. I'm probably going to download it when I go home. I'm just going to say.
I'm sure you will.
Is what it is.
Okay.
We can talk music stuff later.
We're having fun here. Fast and loose. Okay.
Fast and loose.
All right. I'm going to run through the rewatches for movies. Stop me if you want to talk about anything.
Go for it.
Back to the Future Part 2. We talked about it. I could not do it previously because it was October, so I had to pause between 1 and 2 for a month. So watch Part 2. Still my favorite. I know I'm an idiot, but still my favorite. It has been since I was a kid.
What's wrong with 2?
There's nothing wrong with 2. It's just like saying that that's the best of the series is ridiculous. Like the first one is a classic, and it's diminishing returns. I love all 3. I've always loved all 3. But 2 as a kid, I was like, it has everything I love about the first one. And it's got all this future shit. What's not to love?
Well, it also lets you see all the shit you love of the first one and just show you.
Yeah, it's the highlight reel.
Yeah,
also the magic trick of like existing and dancing around and through the plot of the original.
The only thing that would have made that would have been the first time I can remember in a movie where an action that is unexplained in the first movie is explained by the existence of someone else that you did not see in a time travel movie more than anything. So like, if someone's, if there was something that had happened almost kind of like a Interstellar kind of thing, like, oh, he's always in the cabinet or whatever shit we talked about. If that had been able to be pulled off, or like they had the wherewithal to be like, yes, this thing is a perfect script, but we're going to leave this one little piece in one as like a tiny, maybe a plot hole. And then we'll kind of come back when we make 2 and explain it away as, well, it was Marty, but not Marty we know, Marty from a different timeline, because time is a flat circle. Like, if that had been what Zemeckis did, I'd be like, you are a god. You should like quit making movies and figure out how to have us travel through time because this is amazing. But it didn't happen. I love 2 as well. I think 1 is I think 1 is a perfect script.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people say it, but I believe it. Handful of movies can say that. Back to the Future is a perfect script.
Also one of the strangest blockbusters ever made.
Yes.
It's just a fucking weird movie.
Right.
It just really is when you stop and think about it. What a weird movie.
Well, it's just what you said about that Queen's Gambit show. It is so simple on its surface that it's chess in the 60s and it's this. And that's it. It's you go back in time.
How the star is told.
Yeah. I tell you, if you
the doings and the telling.
the acting. It's between the motions of action and cut. You get rid of Eric Stoltz and you put Michael J. Fox in, and it's a whole new ball game. It's a ball game I want to go to. It's a ball game I want to watch over and over and over.
We were watching a slight transition back to TV for a second. I finished Schitt's Creek. We were binging through all of it, catching up with the rest of the world that's obsessed with it.
I know what that fucking show is. Okay, cool.
It's Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, and it's Canadian, and it's great. And it's on Netflix, and it's funny.
Did he not just pass?
No.
Who just passed from American?
Fred Willard.
That's who I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Fred Willard have something to do with American Pie?
He shows up in Wedding in the third one.
He's the dad of
Allison Hannigan's dad.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm thinking. Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, he shows up because him and Eugene Levy are buddies from all the Christopher Guest movies and SCTV back in the day. Anyways, I've lost track of my Schitt's Creek. Why I even brought it up?
You were watching Schitt's Creek back in the day.
Lost it.
Okay.
You'll
think about it.
I don't know what
we just got done talking about Back to the Future. You watched Back to the Future too.
I did. I also rewatched my most watched movie ever, Ocean's 11. They're all on Netflix.
Oh, yeah,
right
I saw
now.
that. Yeah, I saw they all came
So
out.
I
back
watched 11. And then I literally, Veronica, like, mercilessly mocked me the whole time. Like, she knows that I've seen it the most of anything and that I love it. And she's not a huge Clooney or a Pitt fan. And she just kept saying, Matt Damon, every single time he showed up.
That's terrible.
And I was just like, yep, babe, that's Matt Damon.
That's
Matt Damon.
That's terrible, but also hilarious at the same time.
Dude, you can't not. Even he thinks it's funny.
Exactly.
Everybody loves Team America.
That's
Like, what
the
are we talking
best
about?
bit.
Yeah, it's the one most quotable line from that movie. But yeah, I'm sure I've talked about it on a podcast at some point. It's the movie I've seen the most because it was my go-to-sleep movie for like over a year. Still holds up for me. I love it. I'm gonna watch 12 and 13, just not when she's around because she's just gonna make fun of them the whole time. But yeah, when it was over, she was like, "So that was it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, okay. I guess I was just picturing more of like an action movie." And I was like, "Well, it's a heist movie. It's not an action heist movie. It's just a heist movie. It's a caper. It's a caper. Very different. Very different." Anyways, it's great. Get off my back. We watched Inside Out. Of course, I saw it in theaters. She'd never seen it before. The Pixar film. That's the one with all the emotions.
Oh, yeah.
Great stuff. Totally worked on me again. Main reason we wanted to watch it. Pete Docter's new one called Soul, I believe comes out Christmas Day on Disney Plus. Jamie Foxx is an aging jazz man who has lost his love of music and has to rediscover it. Find some soul again. It's supposed to be incredible. Can't wait for it. Pete Docter's my favorite of the Pixar bunch. He did Up as well. It's my favorite Pixar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I also did Monsters, Inc. back in the day. Yeah. Anyways. And, a little movie called Citizen Kane. All my rewatches. Mank comes out in like a week. So, doing a little prep. For Mank. The only movie that might unseat, I'm thinking of ending things as my number one. Maybe there's something else out there I haven't come across yet, but that's the one I'm waiting for. Drops December 4th on Netflix. Drops November 25th at the Indie Theater down here. So I'm going to go see that bad boy on the big screen, hopefully with nobody else in the crowd. We'll see what happens. That's it on my rewatches. You got any rewatches? You want to barrel through them?
Oh, what I do? RoboCop 2 and 3.
That we haven't already discussed.
I'm trying to think, man. I didn't keep a list because I was so
Not a
amping
problem. I'm going to give you some stuff I watched for the first time. You just tell me what you got. Okay. Still on the new side. I'm going to go very quick. Trial of Chicago 7. New Aaron Sorkin. It's on Netflix. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I think you will too. Sacha Baron Cohen.
I just listened to the
Incredible cast. Yahya Abdul-Mateen from Watchmen.
I just listened to
Jeremy Strong from Succession. Mark Rylance. Keep going.
I just listened to the podcast.
The podcast on it, yeah.
From American History Tellers about it, so it's fresh in my mind. I'll probably check it out.
I mean, it's one. If you've seen any of the docs about it or any of the other TV movies, like you definitely know the story. This is probably like the best encapsulation of like all the different personalities at play, and it's got great Sorkin dialogue. Him as a director. He's all right, man. He's no Fincher.
No, just stick to writing.
You kind of wish Fincher was making it, or the original incarnation, which I guess was Spielberg directing his screenplay with Philip Seymour Hoffman in the Mark Rylance role and a couple other key changes that would have made it interesting. But yeah, I'm down with what we got. It's on the upper side of the Netflix original movies, the high-profile ones they've done over the last few years. American Utopia, which is available on HBO Max. This is David Byrne's touring concert film / Broadway show that was shot by Spike Lee for the movie. It's great. At the same time, it is also not Stop Making Sense, which is the greatest concert movie of all time. So if you're comparing it to that, yeah, it's not that great. If you're comparing it to every other concert movie, it's one of the best ones as well. Right up there with Stop Making Sense. So highly recommend that, even if you're not a huge David Byrne or Talking Heads fan. But if you're not, I don't want to know you, as they say. Okay. Borat, subsequent movie film?
Yes.
You watched this?
Oh, yeah.
Finally?
Yeah.
I know you were saving it. We briefly talked about it before. I think we both pretty much had the same take, which is like, it was it was a blast, and I feel like we kind of almost enjoyed the just flat out comedy of it and the narrative of it more than even the political commentary or those aspects of it. Like, all of that stuff is there, and obviously everybody's been talking about the Giuliani thing to death, but it's not just some great writing and setups, just great jokes in the movie.
Exactly. Yeah, if you just like, oh my god, another Borat, and you've been wanting that, like you were there for like Bruno, and you've been like, oh, the dictator was scripted, but I love it. Like,
I was there for Bruno in the theater when 10 people walked out before it was over. I was there.
Yeah. I just love the idea that, like, that man stood up in front of all of us in January and was so stern about, you gotta have these internet companies and like people who are unregulated, like they need to be held in line for what they're allowing people to preach and all this and that. And the entire year he had a fucking Borat movie waiting for us to come out. And I'm just like, I fucking love you, man.
Dude, I can't.
Not to mention you had the trial of Chicago 7 and was that other...
They dropped within weeks of each other.
Right. And what, did he not have another show? Was it late last year or early this year about the badass Israeli secret agent dude?
I think that was end of last year.
Okay. But still, I mean, you have all the... Again, you film stuff out of whack or whatever. The thing is, I saw somebody post that, like, they posted some kind of meme. It was like...
Is it Infidel? Is that the Netflix show?
I can't remember. That might have been it. But it talks about, like, you think the world's getting so bad and out of whack, but then you see that this guy's back and you feel a little bit better. And it was somebody had taken a picture of him.
The spy,
yeah.
Continue.
But they'd taken a picture of him in whatever, driving the truck or whatever. They'd taken a picture of it on the highway. And that was the first thing I'd ever heard about him making a new movie. I hadn't heard it in the zeitgeist or anything. That just popped up as a meme on the internet. And then to find out, like, within, like, not even a month later, here it is. I was like...
And also, here it is on Amazon Prime.
Right,
like,
of all places.
Immediately. Not even like, oh, it's $20 to buy for 2 months. It's like,
exactly.
No, it's just here for a majority of people.
Like, did you make... It feels... The movie feels like, I'm going to go do this... And either they were doing it as the pandemic started, or they did it in the pandemic and made it and had it cut and done for you, and was out within, like, this should tell you, it doesn't take much to get something shot, chopped, and in somebody's face. It doesn't take much.
Yeah.
If you want to do it, I feel like he did this for us. He knew if we didn't have it, we would tear ourselves to pieces. Yeah. We might even let Trump win.
It definitely distracted people for like a week, or at least a news cycle or two of discussing some of it. But again, it's like all of that stuff. Again, it's so of the moment. We talked about this with Run the Jewels a little bit. It's like, I don't know how that stuff will age in a couple years, like whether it'll still hit as hard or like, who knows. But the core jokes of like having her eat the baby cupcake and then going to the like Christian like pregnancy counselor, just incredible stuff.
It'll never not be funny. It just will always be
great stuff.
But
I put baby inside.
I feel bad. I want to give her a treat, and I put the baby inside of her.
But I just want to give her pleasure.
Like and that's the thing. Until the person on the other end of that joke changes their attitude, that joke will always be funny. Yeah. Like until they're like, you know what, we probably shouldn't do this whole abstinence and pray the gay away thing. We should probably just be a little bit more tolerant and like understanding that life happens. Yeah. Because we're not perfect. We are made in our creator's image, but we are not perfect. Yeah. If they just change their attitude, that joke's not funny anymore. That's the thing I think I love about it, is because it's not overly in your face being like, this person's, look at this motherfucker. He's dumb. He's stupid for being this way. And I'm going to make fun of him by a real situation that like they've probably been in. And the comedy isn't that. It's that this person has an insane, absurd viewpoint. And I'm just going to kind of gently poke fun at it and bring it out in a way that you've never thought of before. Because I would have never thought of that joke. I've never known any other thing of any other joke, any other comedy bit, any other stand-up bit about a guy taking his daughter into a clinic and being like, oh, she has a baby inside of her. And the reveal is that, oh, she ate a cupcake and it's a tiny baby. Who would think that is like a funny joke? You don't come up with it. But it's writers like these that are like, yeah, that's a fun situation to put somebody in. And the back and forth with like Will you tell him I will give her to Pence? Like, he's just getting the
slow faxes. Yeah,
yes, that, and of course,
great stuff.
I don't want to spoil it, but the fucking end, dude.
Yeah.
That was the perfect way to ride out. I loved it. I thought it was like, oh. I mean, I'm still one of those people who really enjoys the whole Usual Suspects angle of things.
Oh yeah.
I'll ride or die for it all the time. Make fun of it all you want.
Oh, and I will.
You know what I think about though? Do you remember Wrongfully Accused?
Yeah.
Do you remember the bit where John Walsh looks at the he runs away?
I saw that before I saw Usual Suspects.
Me too. Yeah. It's like, okay.
There were so many of those, dude, where we saw the Leslie Nielsen parody version of something before we, like, and it was just, years of watching stuff and being like, okay.
Do you know what, now? I don't know if I talked to you about this last time we mentioned Leslie Nielsen, but do you know I was listening to something with, it was Gilbert Gottfried's podcast, and he made the comment that, like, the bit with Nielsen was that, like, in Airplane, he's a serious actor. Mm-hmm. And he's playing everything straight, and it's fucking hilarious. Mm-hmm. Then he started to think he was funny with the fart machine and taking that to every set. And so the subsequent films after that are trying to parody a genre don't necessarily work as well as something like an Airplane or a Naked Gun, because it's like he did that straight.
Right.
And everything else next is played for a laugh. Like, I'm going to show you where Mr. Magoo, Wrongfully Accused,
Dracula Dead and Loving It,
Spy Hard. Yeah, he's playing it for the laugh, so it doesn't come across like he could have played.
It's not the magic of what
he could have played Dracula straight. Like, he could have been trying to do his best like Gary Oldman.
Weirdly enough, it's still Zucker adjacent, but he eventually gets back to that in like Scary Movie 3 and stuff as the president, where he gets the joke, but he knows how to play the joke at the same time.
Yeah. But that's that dip in the '90s after the Naked Gun movies. It was like, he thinks he knows he's funny.
All of those you just mentioned, I rented multiple times from our local video store when I was a kid because I thought he was the funniest guy.
Who else is doing slapstick comedy on a large visual scale?
Jim Carrey. That's about it. And I had already seen all of those.
Yeah, exactly.
And we were raised on Leslie Nielsen because of Paul, because of the Naked Gun movies.
Exactly.
I saw Naked Gun when I was like 4.
Yeah.
For some reason.
I just remember the 33 and the Third and like Anna Nicole's like.
So, dude, again, the third one that I've seen more than any of the, like, I know all of the bits from the first one, but I've seen the third one more than any in the series.
And what is the second one about anyway?
I don't even
know. No one knows. No one knows what's the second
movie. Yeah. It's like Hot Shots 1 and Part 2 that I completely like flip in my brain all the time.
Oh man,
like
dude.
What bit is in what movie? But yeah.
Hot Shots is a little bit easier to understand though, because like it's one's Rambo and one's Top Gun. It's that simple.
But again, in my head, some of those scenes are in the same movie. Like, I can't differentiate them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do love the Charlie Sheen, Martin Sheen bit in Part 2.
Oh, that's the best.
They pass each other. It's like,
loves you in Wall Street. It's the best joke in the movie. Yeah.
And fucking Richard Crenna is in the movie as well.
He's playing the same role, basically.
Basically.
Okay.
Oh, he was in Leviathan too. I don't know if I told you that when we talked about an Ark of E. Really good.
I'll get to it next October.
Peter Weller, dude. It's sci-fi. You could go there, dude.
I might check it out soon.
You know, if you just watch RoboCop and you get it like a Peter Weller fix, you can't like an itch.
I'll
you
go
can't.
Naked Lunch before I go anything else.
I will do the Naked Lunch, but then do Leviathan. It's pretty good. You would enjoy it.
This is available on YouTube, so free for everybody with an internet connection. An Evening with Tim Heidecker.
Okay.
Now, if you don't already love him, I don't know if this is gonna convince you, or if you're even going to be able to stand it. But if you appreciate what he does, if you enjoy anti-comedy, it's one of the most incredible stand-up sets I've ever seen, dude. It is basically a parody of bad stand-up. The whole set is a parody of like the worst stand-up of all time, essentially. And if it's one of those, if you get the joke and you click in with the vibe, you are on the floor. If you don't, it could possibly be the most grating, like unfunny thing you've ever seen. I highly recommend everybody check it out, whether you are aware of him at all. But yeah, An Evening with Tim Heidecker, which is on YouTube. Speaking of cool live stream-ish stuff, this was a while back now, but Future Island's one of my favorite bands. Their new album, As Long As You Are, came out a couple weeks ago, and they did a live stream that you could buy tickets for, and it went off without a hitch. It was shot incredibly well, and they did basically a smattering of all of their albums, and it was just an evening with them. It was very fucking cool. And it was a one-time only thing. I don't even think you can go and like watch it anywhere now unless you had a ticket. You could watch it for like 2 more days. In that vein as well, I did the Wet Hot American Summer live stream.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that the other day.
2.5 hours. They read through the entirety of the original script. Not the entirety, but most of it. They adjusted some things because some actors could not take part. And then they did basically a sampling of scenes from both seasons of the Netflix series. Incredible the amount of people they got to come back and some of the subs they got as well. And it was super fun. It was a fun little evening. Everybody hanging out for like 2.5 hours. And kind of reveals to you again how great the scripting is in that movie and in the series, of just like, even though we know these bits and we know these lines, it's like just hearing them do them even through Zoom is like, just great stuff. So that was a fun little party. This one slipped past Arctober because he waited till November to release it. I'm talking about The Dark and the Wicked, which is available on VOD right now. Did you watch this?
Mm-hmm.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, I never got a reaction.
Oh, yeah.
Not crazy about it?
I mean, looked beautiful.
Did you get just a little, like you were just whiffing the fumes of an Ari Aster movie? Like you were just,
Yeah.
It's not like pure heroin, but it's like prescription. I don't know. I mean,
it's like a
terrible.
little Synchronic. It comes in at every 7 minutes. I get a little feel
I
of
don't
it.
know
Yeah.
the metaphor, but did it?
Yeah.
You get a little Ari Aster light feel from it. This is Brian Bertino's The Dark and the Wicked. This is the guy who made The Strangers, which I love, and The Monster, which is, I feel like, really underseen and underrated. That was a couple years ago with Zoe Kazan.
I was going to tell you, the two guys, Woodward and Bernstein, or
Benson and Moorhead,
those two, they produced this movie I've been trying to watch about like a guy whose like girlfriend or wife has gone off and left him. He's alone in a house, and every night some kind of like thing tries to get into his home, sort of thing. Okay. Really low budget one, but it looked like it was something they produced. They didn't, or one of them might have even acted in. I can't tell you the name of it. It always pops up underneath like certain little indie horror things that are on Prime, and it looks really low budget. It looks in the same vein of Resolution, but they had something to do with it, and that's where I thought I knew them from to begin with. But I meant to mention that the other day when you started talking about this. I can't remember the name of it, but it looked hella interesting. Like the trailer, you definitely get the feel of like, okay, this is not something big budget. This isn't something that like people put a ton of money behind. But
After Midnight.
That's it. That's what I'm thinking of. And I don't know. I'm assuming they produced something. I remember I thought their names were attached to it. At some
they did produce it, and I think they both starred in it as well.
Okay, that's why. Okay, I knew them from somewhere when you mentioned them, but
Justin Benson is in it. Aaron Moorhead is not.
Okay.
I will check that one out. I think it might be on Shudder still.
It should be. That's how it's only ever been. That's the thing. It's only ever on Shudder that I would see anything for.
We won't do spoilers for this one. This is another one you would have to rent. I highly recommend it. I don't know about Gavin. I highly recommend it with the caveat that this movie is fucked up.
It is super fucked.
Is really fucked up.
Yeah.
Not for the faint of heart. It's graphic, but it's also, it's that kind of stuff that gets under your skin where you're just like, oh man, that's just so dark. Right. It's just so dark where you took this. And like, I do love the commitment to that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where it's like, this is what this movie is, like, enter at your own risk kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's without a purpose or a point, and I think it's incredibly effective. I think most of the scares, if not all of them, like really did a number on me, like very effective. But the overall tone and the ultimate ending, which I will not spoil, is just so heavy, man.
Yeah.
Just so messed up.
It's just, yeah.
But
I mean, I don't. And that's the thing. I don't know what I'm supposed to glean from it, though. I don't know where I'm supposed to.
I don't think you're supposed to glean anything other than the devil is for real, and he does not fuck around, and it doesn't matter if you believe in him or not. He believes in you, and he believes in what he can do to you. And it's basically like why? Because he can. And again, that's not always the most satisfying
No, it's not.
answer for some people. Some people don't like their ambiguity. But I did kind of like the pitch blackness of just like, these are non-believers. The devil is like, I'm going to make you fucking believe. Look at how bad I can make things for you, essentially. But yeah, quick rundown. It's a rural horror movie. Two kids who haven't been home in a bit. Their father is very, very ill, and their mother is having some issues. Okay, they show up, and then I think you see this in the opening, and it's in the trailer as well. So not a huge spoiler, but all of a sudden, mom hangs herself. Does she hang herself? How was she able to get up to this thing? But they find their mom's dead. So now, do we stay here and take care of dad? What do we do? Etc.
After she's...
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
She's chopping the carrots. Wild
Yeah.
stuff.
Again, visually, in your face, stunning, look pretty, visceral, very atmospheric in terms of it being a rural horror film.
I agree with you that there's not that much there. That's why, again, to me, it's the huffing the fumes of something like an Ari Aster movie, because it doesn't get into your bones the way his movies do, because there's not enough characterization, to be completely honest. There's not enough backstory on this family and these people as individuals. And I do feel like it rushes a bit to get to some of its more like heightened crazy stuff.
Right.
But yeah, as far as like VOD horror that I've checked out this year, it's really, really solid.
No, it is solid. Yeah,
I
I'll give you
when
that.
I'm getting another Ari Aster horror movie, so this will do for now, I suppose. But I recommend people check it out. Again, not for the faint of heart. So enter at your own risk with that one. It's The Dark and the Wicked. You can rent it on VOD right now. I'll also do a plug. We've talked about it on an October episode, but Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor.
Yeah,
one of my favorite movies of the year. Is available on VOD right now.
Fuck yes.
And if you, it may have already passed. Yep. Literally yesterday from when we were recording this episode. It was on PlayStation Plus for $10 to own.
Oh, damn it.
For a stretch. But yeah. Anyways. And another one that it'll probably be streaming somewhere, but freaking pay the VOD thing and rent it through a
I'm going to
service. Give a little fraction of a cent to Brandon Cronenberg, who had his release date completely fucked this year. Yeah, and who also again made one of the best movies of the year. I finally caught up with Memories of Murder, which is freshly available on VOD, even though it came out about a decade ago. This is the first, not the first. This is the first big Bong Joon-ho movie that kind of put him on the map. It is about, I don't know if it's the first or just the most notorious serial killer in Korean history. So it is based on actual cases, but it is about fictional police officers investigating. And the dude just knows how to make a movie. You heard me rave about Parasite for fucking ever. It's my favorite movie last year. And this was no different, dude. I was just like, the stuff he's doing within the, you think you are comfortable in like certain genre trappings. Like, oh, I know where this is going. I know how things are going to play out based on the rules of this genre. And he just doesn't play by any of those rules.
Would you argue he's playing by a set of rules by not playing by a set of rules?
I mean, yeah.
Okay. Okay, just ask him. He can. It's not a problem.
But yeah. And it also starred the father from Parasite is also the lead in this. Highly recommend it. And it's new. Neon, who released Parasite and Possessor, by the way, they have a new remastered version of it. Like, this is its coming out party to America, essentially, and it's available on VOD. It was going to
put that new tux on. It got look good, son.
It was going to be a re-release in theaters that got screwed up, so now it's, you can go rent it on VOD.
What if he just changed it to like 2020 as like
nobody would have known.
No one would have.
Like,
nope.
I mean, literally every film critic would know, but like, yeah, by and large, nobody would know. And I could even in some circles be like see it all of a sudden it gets nominated for a bunch of stuff, and they're like,
shit.
Well,
I mean,
like, this is his new movie.
Well, technically it came out, but just not here. Right. So
yeah. Continuing on, this is just in chronological order. Basically, I watched the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductions on HBO, which was weird as hell because there were no performances and everything was done through Zoom and remotely, of course, smartly. Fuck you, CMAs. I saw you. I saw what you did. Did you see that shit?
Yeah, Mom and Dad were watching it the other night when I was over there.
Did they have anything to say about that?
Nope.
What the hell, dude?
I mean, I don't think they were watching.
Drama-free zone.
I don't know if they were watching it.
Goddamn CMAs. No drama here. No mask either. Oh, God, dude. Wild. Wild stuff. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, do we know the numbers coming out of the CMAs?
Who knows, man? Oh, God. Sorry. See how we keep getting sucked into continuing to talk about all this shit? We're trying to do a fucking movie podcast here. All right. Okay.
Well, what is the I'm trying to think. Is there not anything that's, I mean, Borat's the first movie I know of this year that's talked about COVID-19.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just wondering when we're going to get the rest of them.
Well, Host, the Shudder horror movie, it's taking place in literally quarantine lockdown time. Like, they never specifically say.
Gotcha.
I think they do say COVID one time in the movie, but you know what they're talking about because you're just like, this is happening right now, kind of thing.
Okay, I got you.
So yeah, there's movies doing it, and
they just don't want to pay the copyright for
your boy Bay produced the big one that comes out like end of this year, I think. Songbird, something like that. It's like set in the future. It's another pandemic. He produced it. He did,
Songbird. I have no idea what that's about.
It's a quarantine movie. They shot it, produced, shot, edited, etc. all in quarantine.
Oh, I'm thinking of the one with Ryan Reynolds and The Rock that I want to see. That's supposed to be coming out soon. That they
Free Guy.
I don't know what that. When you said Bay produced, follow my brain logic. Bay just made 6 Underground with Ryan Reynolds. You say Bay produced. I know Bay didn't make Free Guy, but no, not Free Guy. It's not Free Guy. It's a different one.
No, as soon as you said that, I was like, The Rock's not in that, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. What's Free Guy?
That's the Ryan Reynolds one where he's like in a video game. He's like an NPC character.
Oh,
yeah.
I think I saw a trailer.
It was supposed to be a summer release, and they keep kicking the can. Okay. Mona Lisa, which we already talked about a bit. You need to go watch it on HBO Max. We'll talk about it again in the future. And then I got 2 back-to-back bangers. So I watched Citizen Kane. Before that, though, I watched The Third Man for the first time. Carol Reed's The Third Man, starring Orson Welles, also starring Joseph Cotton, who's in Citizen Kane, and I forget the third guy, but anyways, post-war Vienna, dude shows up to check. Are you aware? Did you watch it for any film classes ever?
I've heard of it.
It's one of those where I'm like, okay, shows up on billions of like best movies ever made list. Never seen it.
Yeah,
might as well. And I have the Criterion version of it, thanks to you, brother. That giant case you got me from, what's that place called?
Second and Charles?
Second and Charles, yeah.
Wait.
That giant random box you got me had a copy of The Third Man in
really?
There. It sure did.
The Criterion
copy.
It's
the Criterion
Holy fucking
DVD,
shit.
But yes.
You know what's terrible, Noah?
What's that?
I dug through all of those and like put the best on the very bottom.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize that was in there.
You didn't realize that The Third Man was in there? Yeah.
Like, honestly, I might just do that again for everybody for Christmas. How was that not like the dopest idea?
No, that was great.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
I got so excited to open up. I was like, oh, he's going to hate this. He's going to hate this.
But I also, recently, because we're winding down in terms of TV shows, I'm waiting till like
Wait a
early
minute.
mid-December for some movies.
Were there
What?
Billy Blank's Tybo DVDs in that box?
I think so.
That's why
There might be.
it's the gift that keeps on giving.
There you go.
This episode
I
is
mean,
brought
we
to you
watch
by
them on
Second
YouTube,
and
but
Charles.
you just reminded me that they're in there. I need to go look for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to have to go. That's what I'm doing
Anyways,
for everybody.
dude,
Boom.
The Third Man. Can I
Uh-huh.
tell you about it? Because I'll probably lend it to you if you want to take it home. If this sounds interesting to you. It's basically a noir, essentially. It's post-war Vienna. Joseph Cotton shows up to check on his buddy Harry Lime, who, spoiler alert, it's not a spoiler. He's on the fucking poster. And I guess you know this going in. Maybe it was a huge shocker at the time. But Harry Lime is played by Orson Welles, okay? Mm-hmm. He didn't show up in the movie for like an hour and 15 minutes. Okay?
Right.
He's there investigating, and as soon as he gets there, it's like, oh, your buddy's dead. He got killed in a car accident a couple days ago. It's like, well, shit. But then some details don't totally add up. Some things sound a little fishy. Maybe he was involved in some weird stuff. Maybe he was a trafficker. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in post-war Vienna. There's 4 different nations, essentially, all with different interests and stuff, all seeing how things are going to shake out there. So, Buddy starts investigating. He meets the former lover of Harry Lime as well. Falls in love with her, of course, because what are you going to do? And then, of course, it takes a turn. I told you Orson Welles is in the movie, and he shows up, and hey, he's not dead, but why did people think he was dead? Did he fake his own death, etc., etc.? What are the stakes? I won't spoil them for you. It's incredibly well written. I think it's Graham Greene that wrote it, the author.
Yeah.
Did the screenplay for it. It's great, dude. I mean, I don't want to spoil where it goes. It's not a ton of like twists and turns. It's just like incredibly well done and well shot. And one of like the greatest and bleakest endings I've seen in a movie from that era, where you're just like, dude, did the 70s like creep back in here? What the hell happened?
What year does it come out?
It's 1943. Don't quote me on that.
I was going to say, how did we know we won?
It's post Citizen Kane. Excuse me.
But how did we know we won?
1949. Excuse me.
I was going to say,
excuse me.
you can't tell me it's a post-war Vienna in 1943. There is no Vienna in 1943.
Just sorry, man. It's
I know.
late. We're 2 hours and 10
I know. I'm
minutes
just
into
giving you
this.
shit.
Sorry. Yeah. But yeah, dude, I'll give you my DVD. It's one of those. It's just like everybody should watch it at some point. It's just a really fucking good movie. Speaking of really, really good movies, I had an absolute revelation last night.
What's that?
I finally watched Tokyo Story. It's my first Ozu movie. It's from 1953. I have not cried like this in a long time.
God.
And it's 2020, dude. It's 2020.
You've had
Just
a lot
to
to cry
remind
about.
everybody.
Yeah. You've had a lot to be sad about.
Absolutely wrecked me in the best possible way. Just a perfect movie, dude. Absolutely destroyed me. Tokyo Story is about an aging couple who live in a rural district of Japan, going to visit their now grown children in Tokyo. It's the first time they visited them in a very long time. Their kids have kids, so they've got grandkids to go visit, and they're going to do this one big trip out from their province to visit Tokyo, see all the kids, get out of the house, etc. And basically, they get there, and their kids are kind of indifferent, and it's kind of all of a sudden oh shit, my mom and dad are here, we gotta entertain them. Do you guys want to take them out to do something? And everybody's kind of pawning, and basically it's a family drama that just starts to explore. I mean, it's about aging, it's about the parent-child dynamic over time, and just how and so if you feel disconnected from your parents, or feel like you're not, you don't make enough phone calls, you don't stay in touch, all of that stuff that I'm sure people feel in general, but it's probably exacerbated right now because of the circumstances of traveling, etc. You wrap all that into, again, a movie that's also about aging and what lies for you down the road, and again stars two old people as the leads, which I feel like is just not something you see often at all, period. But especially, I'm nobody ever needs to make a family drama about aging and all of these family dynamics ever again, because he said it all in one 2 hour and 11-minute movie
In 1950.
in 1953.
Yeah.
It absolutely stunning, dude. I cannot wait to like dive into his filmography. He's known as like, he might be the greatest director of all time in some circles. He's the name that kind of rises to the top of the list. And yeah, I think I maybe, I went immediately to his most well-regarded one,
Which is
Tokyo Story, the one I'm talking about. But
I thought you'd tell me this was the lost gem of his. I got you.
no. Several of the other ones, like Late Spring, An Autumn Evening, etc., are available on HBO Max through the Criterion Collection. So I am starting my Ozu journey. If you want to join me, I'm going to be talking about them sporadically over the next couple months, because I just found like a new favorite director where I'm like, where the hell did this guy come from? Read just a little brief background. Never married, no kids, lived with his mother until she died. Yet somehow he made this movie that has all of these complex like male-female dynamics as well, family relationship, all of this stuff. And it's just, I'm like, where's all that come from? So naturalistic, just great shit. Very slow pace, of course. Obviously. Very like slice of life. But if you get into the groove with it and you're in the mood for it, I just like, it was one of those where I was like, oh, maybe in like, I'll wait a little bit, maybe I'll take a break or like get something to eat. And I all of a sudden I was like just fully in it, and I was like, I don't want to do anything other than watch this movie right now. One of the best things I've seen ever, period. Flat out, 10 out of 10.
This is why we need to do my bit about like movies you saw.
This is of this year stuff that I'm like, oh, I needed to go back and watch this. And dude, I just had a great run. I watched Mona Lisa, The Third Man, Citizen Kane, and Tokyo Story all in the span of a week. And I was just like, dude, I love movies.
Yeah.
Movies are good.
Movies are my jam.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
That's where I wanted to leave it. It was with Tokyo Story, the best movie I've seen all year. Holy shit. And it was Veronica came downstairs, like maybe like 20-30 minutes after I'd finished it, and she was like, are you good? And I was like, you want to watch some Tim and Eric? Like, I just gotta watch something funny. And she's like, what happened? And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. And I started explaining it to her, and as I'm telling her about the movie, I start crying. I was just like, I just can't deal with it. I didn't even tell you like where the plot goes, dude. But oh my God, give it a shot. It's also one that like I want to recommend to Mom. Mom, I know you're listening, but I also like don't want to put her through it at the same time.
No.
Oh my God, dude.
No, I wouldn't do that right now.
Yeah. And maybe not the best circumstances for a lot of people to be checking that one out for the first time, but what a masterpiece. Just wow. Okay. Anything else you want to throw out there? I
am not even going to try.
2 hours and 27
No, sir. I'm not going to
deep.
fall into that trap. There's nothing I can say that's going to top that experience you just had with movies. I think I got some stuff I need to check out, make sure I get done before my year end is done with that. Movies as well as TV. I look forward to doing albums with you very soon, being the next thing that we look at.
Albums will kick off our end of the year wrap up pods. We are still preparing those lists. I've got a pretty solid set right now. But if you're listening to this and you have any albums, movies, or TV from 2020 that you want to recommend for us to check out,
definitely,
as we're making our list, etc., or you personally want to give a shout out to, we'll read those on the future episodes. So you can email us, thearkofe@gmail.com. Yell at us on Instagram at the Ark of E Network, on Twitter at the Ark of E, and if you head over to Facebook and search for the Ark of E, you'll find our page. And Gavin handles that. I handle the Instagram, and Mr. Sunshine Mayfield, our good friend from Bending Not Breaking, which, by the way, just concluded its 3rd season. So they made it through the entire run of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Huge success, most successful podcast in the history of the Ark of E Network. Huge hats off to all of those guys. Alex, Max, and Ben. Yeah, they actually have a bonus episode up right now. If you're not an Avatar fan and you've been scared to jump into that one, do you like Steven Spielberg's The Terminal? Because they did a whole 2-parter on it. Part 1 is up right now. A little bonus content as they prep for season 4, which I believe will be them diving into the Legend of Korra, which is the spinoff of Avatar. So you have that to look forward to. If you're not subscribed, jump over there and do that for them. And I think that's all the housekeeping, really.
Yeah.
Stay tuned to the Ark of E network.
Yeah.
And the Ark of E podcast specifically. We got more stuff coming for you in December. But for now, we're going to sign off. I have been Noah.
And I have been Gavin.
And we've been the Blanchard Brothers. And you've been listening to What We've Been Watching.
Pissed.
And run the jewels.
Run the jewels. Run the jewels.